Hello there, toy collectors. My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around, and I am very excited to bring you this special review.
If anything, the Kim family, they're archetypes.
Which is sad, but not always a bad thing.
I'm okay, I have one Zusi on the name.
Let's try them. Let's still try.
Ooh, here we go. Look at that background. That's way too much. Hello there, everyone. My name is Kevin, aka Toying Around. If you're just looking up Spider-Man spoilers and No Way Home recaps and you found this video, normally on this channel, I look at action figures and unbox them every week. But of course, action figures come from really cool movies and TV shows. So I get a chance to sit down and talk about Spider-Man No Way Home. Again, morning, full of spoilers right now. And can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Yeah. So you can hear me. And that's a good start. And we get to talk about the action figures and toys and collectibles that come along with the movie. So if you're down for what's going on the channel here, it would be a lot of help if you subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, and let us know what you like, what's going on here on the channel. It's a lot of fun stuff coming on and a lot of cool content in the next few weeks. So hope you stay tuned. If you are watching on Twitch, if you prefer Twitch, this is on twitch.tv/touringaround as well. Unboxing Thursdays is on every week at 9 p.m. Eastern. This week will be the Enablers. However, tonight we are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. It's been out less than a month, but I've seen it twice. I can't keep it in any longer. There's a lot of people in this community who, maybe you don't have somebody who's seen it to talk about it, or you don't care about spoilers. Feel free to tune in. Thank you for being here. And if you're here, let people know that we're live right now. We can get into the movie. I have a friend with me tonight. This is a friend of mine who I actually watched the movie with. So we didn't really get to talk about the movie afterwards because I had to go to the washroom, like grown-ups do. And so I thought this was a great chance for me to bring him on. You can catch him every Tuesday at 9 p.m. on YouTube on the Group of Seven Comics YouTube channel. It's called Previously in X-Men, where this person and his friend sit down and read older X-Men comics, key pivotal issues, and kind of break down the artwork, the artist, the writer, a lot of different things going on in the background. But this person has a lot of knowledge, so it's a really cool stream. You guys should definitely check it out every week. If you can't catch it live, make sure you go watch a replay. I think it's very interesting stuff and deserves a lot more attention. This is my friend, Mr. Jason Lapidus.
Hey, man. How you doing, Kev?
What's up, Jason?
Not much. I was thinking about the idea of having to run out after the movie was over and having to run to the washroom, but that's why I wore an adult diaper, so it wasn't an issue.
Right, that's why you wore the adult diaper.
No, it's good to see you. I'm happy to be here to talk about a movie that I know impacted you in a very meaningful way.
I do want to talk about that. Let me change this background first because this thing's ridiculous. Okay, let's get rid of that. Why don't you let people know right now, what kind of stuff you're working on apart from the YouTube thing I told you about?
Man, I make comics.
Art happening.
Yeah, I make comics. I have that YouTube thing going on. So we'll start with the comics. I make a comic book with my buddy Chris Sanigan called Group of Seven Comics, and we're working on a series right now, like a story arc. It's called Peregrines, and that's a lot of fun. Oh, look at you, pulled up my Instagram. Oh, that's right. So this month I'm doing like a daily draw where I'm drawing 3 panels of the comic every single day in under an hour. So every day, Chris and I and the Group of Seven Comics Instagram account, we all post the next 3 panels in the story, and then the next day I draw them the 3 before breakfast, and we post around 11 a.m. That's a lot of fun. So it's a brand new story happening as we go. I will tell you now, we know the beginning, we know the end, we know the beats of the middle, but it's not pre-drawn. It's happening live every day. And it's an action-adventure story, kind of mystery and some macabre, ancient mystery set in London in 1917. So it's cool. Like a spy, espionage, and a little bit of the mystical and macabre stuff happening there too. Also, did some Boba Fett artwork in celebration. Oh, there you go. Those are the 3 variants of the first We're doing a
Nice.
series of 4 Boba Fett prints, and this is the first of the 4, sort of going through the different stages of his life and the outfits he wears. And for the first one, I couldn't help but do color variants because we love our Black
Repaints. They
Series
call it
repaints.
repaints.
Yes, and then I love collecting action figures, and I do love my Black Series, and I love my Boba Fett repaints. So I couldn't help but do obviously like a Return of the Jedi style, and then I'm an old school Kenner guy, so I had to do that Kenner one in the middle. And I love the holiday special colors. I really do. I'm not saying that the holiday special is good in any way, shape, or form, but I do love the various looks of Boba Fett, world's deadliest
Awesome.
bounty hunter, or the galaxy's deadliest bounty hunter. So that's
Well,
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a Star Wars fan or toy collector, if you're into Book of Boba Fett, we do a recap stream. Myself, Yoko, Paul, and now I believe Ernie every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I'm gonna make sure to shout out this artwork there then because it deserves
Thanks,
to be
man.
seen, and it's always awesome stuff. So I'm gonna make sure we do that. But yeah, if you're a Star Wars fan, come check us out on Friday nights.
It was really good last week. I enjoyed it.
It was all right. I enjoyed it as well. I want to say hi to people in the chat real quick, and then I'm going to get to the movie. We went together, but we'll get into that, into the nitty gritty. Shout outs to the Butter Nation we have out here. Toyrensu, Bearded Builds is here. Darth Gutierrez, what's going on? We have Adam Gonzalez. Shout outs to Fred with the 8-month resub over on Twitch. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, Fred. Gonzo, we have Mr. Jones, Toy Malarkey, and Torrensu. I said that already. Bearded Bills, Mr. Jones. It's the same people. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for coming through on a random Wednesday night. Not my usual day, but I just couldn't wait any longer to talk about the movie. And did I legit cry? I legit cried, and I illegitimately cried too because I did deny it at some point. Also, Mackerson, welcome back. So what happened was I had tickets for the Monday after my fiance's work, had a whole theater booked out, and we were going to go, but then there were some new COVID things, and places with over 1,000 seating had to be cut in half, so they ended up canceling that whole event, and I was kind of a little bit upset, and then kind of worried that like I wouldn't get to see the movie, plus it would be spoiled before I could get a chance to see it. So Jason messages me, and he's got this wacky plan. He's like, just come watch it with me and my family. And do you want to explain how that ticket situation worked
Super
out?
fast. I got 2 tickets, one for me and one for my boy, and because my daughter said she didn't care to go see it. And then after the fact, she said she wanted to. So I added her as a 3rd ticket, but because of the way the theater setup was, they would only sell with a gap in between every single sale. So there was no one sitting beside me, and my daughter was 1 over. So I know that we had 3 out of 4 seats. Makes total sense.
There we go.
Kevin, just buy a ticket for any movie, come sit in that 4th seat, but switch spots with my daughter so she's next to me at least, or whatever. And if anyone asks, we'll just say we're 2 dads. All good.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 dads with the same birthdays.
Yes.
It doesn't get any weirder than
Either
that.
way, we got to watch. It was good times. Yeah. It was my 2nd time seeing it, though, which was interesting. I had seen it the day before. I played hooky and snuck out and went to go see it.
Did you tell
Don't tell
kids
anybody. Don't tell anyone. What's that?
You're terrible. You told me not to tell your kids, and then you're telling everyone right now.
Yes. Well, my children are, they're not watching. They don't care about seeing their dad on some YouTube thing. Are you joking?
Hold on. I'm going to try something, see if this works.
Are you going to call my wife?
I don't have her number. I just want to see if this is working. Okay, the soundboard is working. All right, cool. Here we go. How come I can't hear myself? This is strange. Anyway.
Don't worry, man. We all can. It's fine.
Let me know if my voice is weird because I randomly pressed something. By the way, if you... oh, there it is right there. There we go. All right. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. Okay, so we're going to go through what happened in the movie. We're also going to talk about action figures, Marvel Legends, SH Figure Arts, Hot Toys, all of that stuff that comes with a movie like this. So make sure you stick around. Jason, stop me at any point if I'm sure you have something to point out.
Yeah.
And we'll stop and discuss.
Sure.
Because I would love that. The movie Spider-Man picks
Yes.
up from the end of Far From Home. They reshot some of the stuff. Peter's identity is revealed by Mysterio. Oh yeah, spoilers, everyone. Spoilers. I hope you gleamed that from the thumbnail.
Can I just address just a take on this whole
Oh,
spoiler
already?
thing?
Here we go. Yeah, this is
Already. I don't
gonna
think
be a long one
that
too.
I think we use the term spoiler too much. There are like plot points or like minor things that get revealed, but the idea that we know what the hero's going to go through, these movies are a template, and I don't mean that as a criticism. I love the template very, very much. So you really, it's it's sort of how they go through the template, how they use the template. That's the mystery. But I mean, the fact that someone dies in a Spider-Man movie is not a surprise. The fact that
Right.
the hero wins
Well,
in the end in some
but
capacity is
who-
not a
Yeah,
surprise.
somebody
It's
dying
all, you
isn't
know
a
what?
spoiler. Who
If you've
dies
watched enough
is the
movies,
spoiler.
it's all arbitrary eventually. Like yeah. And listen, I felt it, but I'm just going to say, I don't know if there were really anything that could be spoiled in this movie. That if you actually love Spider-Man movies, even if you know what happens, you'll still feel the things you're supposed to feel because it was well done.
Right.
So it doesn't spoil anything. It doesn't ruin it.
So there you go. Jason
doesn't ruin
says
it.
you're not really into Spider-Man movies. We have Action Figgy
Boom.
Skinny in the house. Welcome. Congratulations on getting your credits in the movie. Your name is in the credits.
That's right.
He did some work in the movie, so it's only appropriate that you're here. Everyone, go follow Action Figgy Skinny on Instagram, on YouTube, another Canadian collector who does reviews and some really cool toy photography too. Yeah, someone in the credits is here. We have crew in the chat. We made it, YouTube. We made it. All right, so if I kind of have like quick points, if there's anything that I gleamed over
Sure.
or glossed over, just point out, hey, did you remember this part? But basically, everyone who knows Peter as a result of his identity being revealed, it kind of has a negative impact on their life. Things are more difficult. Peter can't get into school. Same with MJ and Ned, just because they know him.
Yeah, that was mean.
They go through this whole thing. Peter goes through this whole. He gets arrested, which I thought they kind of went through that really quickly. He was like arrested, released, and it was put onto Stark Industries. But the main part of that, and this part, I actually wrote out all my notes, and then I said, "Oh shoot, I forgot about this." The same way I forgot about it when I left the movie, because it was cool, but so much cool stuff happened afterwards that this thing was not even important anymore. And it's the appearance of the Netflix Matt Murdock, which people are saying, oh, what if he defends Peter Parker in the new? And sure enough, he's there.
Yeah.
I think a few days before the movie came out, Kevin Feige was like, what's the actor's name?
Charlie
he said
Cox.
He would. Yes, Charlie Cox would be reprising the role, but he wouldn't.
He
so
said
if he were to be reprising the role,
he said that he considers him the MCU the MCU Daredevil. That
Right.
if they're going to use him again, if they're going to have Daredevil, it's going to be that actor.
If they ever use Matt Murdock or Daredevil,
Yeah.
and he didn't say in what capacity,
No.
it would be him.
But we also knew almost a year before that, I mean, the rumors were pretty strong, and you could see in the trailer or the teasers that there was going to be some controversy. We knew from that.
Yeah.
Like, again, it was a reveal, but I don't think it spoils anything. That he's going to have a lawyer. It's going to be in New York. Like, yeah, it was a very natural inclusion of Matt Murdock. It didn't seem like out of the blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was a pretty organic one and a really welcome thing. And the scene was a lot of fun too. The whole catching was it a brick
catching
that came through?
The brick.
Yeah.
Which didn't seem to require much explanation for Peter. He's like, oh, okay, because he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. It was really cool to see though, for sure. Chat, I don't know how you feel about that scene. How was your reaction? How was your theater's reaction? But for me, it was cool, but it just got lost in the entire movie at the end, which is fine for me.
Sure. There was a little bit of a hush in the theater when it happened both times for me, and then I could hear people whispering or not whispering.
Like, who's that?
Like, that's Daredevil on Netflix. A lot of people I thought had forgotten how to go to movies and how to shut up. Like there were a whole
And how to shut up. I thought it was pretty common for people to like cheer and
cheering is all good, but I mean just the talking and the chatter sometimes, especially when I went on Friday, there were people just talking. It's like they hadn't been to movies in 2 years and they just had forgotten you're not supposed to speak.
Oh, anyway, that's fair.
But that's old man.
Yeah,
like, people are too loud in the theater. Turn it up. One of those.
Jason's gonna write a letter to the theater management later. A strongly worded letter.
Yes, that's exactly right. But it was people recognized that it was Daredevil, which is good.
Yeah, and it was cool because it was just a few days after. Hawkeye's been done for a while now, and it's all over social media. Right after the scene where Kingpin appeared in Hawkeye, which is MCU adjacent, but Hawkeye was the main character, so they're all there. They're all part of that canon now officially. And how cool was it with Kingpin in that family business shirt? Specific. I don't know why it needed to be, but like it was a callback to
him being
like a
festive.
comic.
Yeah, it was a specific reference. I don't know if it added anything, but it didn't have to, right? It can have a little fun. By the way, you think that was Kingpin? You don't think it was a Skrull?
Yeah, I'm hoping it could be. The ending wasn't that great for him,
right?
But
I was just thinking that for a character that spent so much of his crime career making a point of never being seen or having his name spoken, he's awfully public in Hawkeye. He
took quite a beating.
He did. So I'm wondering if it's sort of like a minor retcon, like if they're taking that actor and the spirit of that character, but they're not really going to hold to the Netflix continuity exactly. I'm curious to see how they're going to play it. It's always interesting to see what Feige and company do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, after those problems are solved, Peter can't get into school and whatnot, and he feels really bad. Pretty responsible for a young adult teenager. What does he do? He sees these Halloween decorations. No, sorry, Christmas decorations.
No,
it's Halloween.
For still Halloween. Christmas is at the end of the movie, right? When he goes to see if we're going to go all the way. Goes back to that coffee donut shop at the very end. It was Christmas.
Yeah, a witch with a goatee. Reminds him of Doctor Strange. A male witch. A wizard? I dropped my toy.
A sorcerer of some kind. A mage.
A sorcerer.
It doesn't matter.
A supreme
a devil
type of sorcerer. Soilers. So where was Daredevil during the Battle of New York? There are a lot of good questions. Where were the Avengers during the battle of this movie?
Right.
But, for storytelling's and budget's sake, they're busy. They're off-world.
Yeah.
Peter decides he's going to seek the help of Doctor Strange and ask him to make everyone forget Peter Parker.
Quick thing. So movies foreshadow, like they drop a hint here and they're sort of making you suspect something is coming. They give you, Chekhov's gun. Like if they show a rifle, in the first act, it's going to get used in the third. Like it's these little things. The idea that this wizard, trickster, devil character is on the Halloween decoration. It suggests that going to seek Doctor Strange is trouble.
Oh, I did not get that.
Well, it's subtle. It's not like an overt thing, but again, like if that's what he's associated with, he's with like really. Let's get literal then. If it's Halloween decorations, it's trick or treat, right? So the element of mischievousness, that what you get from a deal with this character on that string with the chili peppers, like it's not going to be something that's going to work. So I have to admit, I know everyone kept saying it. I was thinking it wasn't really Doctor Strange. Like I kept waiting for that to come up where it's like, this is a trickster Doctor Strange. And
it seemed more like like it's a genie. And if you don't wish for the right thing, if you use the right wording with a genie, he's gonna mess it up and you're gonna get some weird side effect.
It was definitely along that spectrum as opposed to, hero saving the universe with the Avengers, like pure good kind of version. It was something, it was interesting. I was waiting for things to go wrong. Like, we knew in the trailer as well that it was going to go, but I thought they were going to make it a little more obvious that he wasn't exactly himself, or it wasn't the Doctor Strange we all know, or something. Anyway,
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's cool to see Wong.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Wong holding the title of Sorcerer Supreme now, and just their interactions are always great between him and Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Do you remember that spell?" He's like, "No, I don't." Exactly. Like all those little things there. Probably some of the best dynamics in the MCU. But of course, like I mentioned, as Doctor Strange is casting the spell, Peter doesn't realize. It's like, oh, if they forget Peter Parker, whoa, everyone is going to forget. He didn't really think about the whole thing. I love after he messed it up. And no, was it before or after when Doctor Strange is like, well, if the thing is you tried and you pleaded with admissions, and if they said no, then there really is nothing you can do. And Peter's like, wait, you can go appeal it?
So that's after
right?
The spell goes wrong 3 times. He contains it in this box.
Yes.
And then, right? So he never actually casts the spell, right? He sets it up and he has it going, and then he's like, "Oh, let's close this, shut this down before it goes too far." And then they have that moment where he talks about, yeah, you could just go appeal, figure another way around this, talk your way through it. It was funny.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So Peter goes and he has to find this admissions registrar lady. I don't know, it doesn't matter the title.
I think she's more yeah, okay.
The some more
just
jokes
say the dean of admissions, whatever she is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Simpsons reference for you. You can go, "Hello, Dean. You're a stupid head." He's like, "Homer, is that you?" Simpsons talk another time though. So he's catching up with the alleged Dean lady, and the scene where you've seen in the trailer is Doc Ock coming out. They fight, and Green Goblin with the pumpkin bomb. But the cool part is I like how the nanotech that moved around Doc Ock pulled some off, and when the nanotech responded to protect Peter's chest, it like went from his face to his chest, and that's how his mask comes off.
Sure.
It's not like it's a cool spin on your typical it's a fight and then something snags the mask and it comes off and that's the reveal. Like it's a really cool, unique way that they did that, and I like that.
Yeah, there aren't really hard and concrete rules about how much the nanotech can spread itself thin. You know what I mean? Like if you take away this square footage of nanotech, there's that much needs to be replaced from another. I thought it was a nice change on that as well. I also love that like his nanotech is his outer clothing too, like his suit jacket. Is it also that?
Is it on top?
It's like
because he has his suit underneath.
Like when you say his
suit,
like
a tie.
So he had a dress shirt, a tie, jacket, and then like blue jeans or and casual pants. But I love that the nanotech, when it shows him in his little blazer there, it's wrinkled. It's like all wrinkled blazer. It's not like he can imagine, or he would wear a nice fitted, like well ironed. It's like no, it's a wrinkled. It's like it's something from his backpack. It was a good touch.
I just wanted to point this out in the chat. We have Marks the Mark, Torrensu, Flyzone21 said, "Hello everyone, the movie was awesome. I saw it twice in Montreal, then Toronto, and then win or lose." We have a little Canuck 4 action going on. So look at that. I keep forgetting that I have that.
That's awful.
And then after the fights, ultimately,
I love the pairing. Like he pairs the suit with the arms, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
And he just takes over. He's like, "Okay, I got
connecting
this."
to a Bluetooth device.
Yeah, that was
and
very
he's doing
fun.
the mirror thing with it. It was great. It's weird. I watched this twice. It's been too long. The sequence of events. Does he?
Then Green Goblin shows up out of the smoke.
Yes,
and they get right away transported Strange's dungeon, whatever
The
they want to
wizard's
call
dungeon.
that room, and that's where, yeah. Then the exposition starts, and Strange explains to him,
Right.
"Let's change your suit. Let's fix this thing. Go find the rest of these guys."
Yeah, go find the rest of the guys. Norman Osborn shows up at what was the place that May works at?
A shelter.
A shelter of some sort. Amazing performance by Willem Dafoe, I think, for like a crazy Norman Osborn. Not this scene, but like the whole thing. He really sold. I don't know the craziness. He seemed like
the
the Joker
duality. Yeah,
to
well, he's
Tom Holland's Batman.
sure.
You know, like that's how it's. I think it's always kind of compared, right? Joker, Green Goblin.
Yeah, it's a fair comparison for sure. And Willem Dafoe would have been an amazing Joker, you know, especially visually, right? And there's an interesting thing, like with the difference between a suspense and a thriller. Like movie is like a thriller is when you don't know what's coming, like when there's a danger that your character is going from one danger to another, or they're trying to survive and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what threat is really there. It's like uncovering, like walking into the dark basement in the horror movie. You don't know what's coming. That's thriller. Suspense is when you know what the threat is and the hero or the protagonist doesn't know. And you're waiting for them to realize what's coming. And that's when you start to feel like Tarantino did that scene, you know, at the beginning of Inglourious Bastards, where
another Inglourious Bastards reference on the channel. I love it.
Oh yeah.
Best.
So that was an amazingly suspenseful scene. We know the guy's hiding people. We know the other guy wants the people, and he knows. And it's just like, how is this going to play out? So tying it back to this, we know Norman Osborn is going to turn.
Right.
There's no question. He's not going to be a hero in this movie. And it's just that feeling of like, oh man, how long is it? When is he going to turn? When is it going to happen? And that dread starts to build, you know, over that second act to see like, okay, when is this coming? When is the turn going to happen? And it's suspenseful. Like it's exciting. It's a fun thing.
And that leads us to some of the other villains.
Right. So Spider-Man goes to the forest because there's a reading that the power is there like some strange temporal fluctuations or something there, and so he heads out.
I don't remember exactly what the
plot device is that gets him to go. Okay, subtle little thing. Also, I this is how I read it. You know, you guys in the chat, you can give me your take on this or share your take. But when Peter goes out into the woods and he leaves the city, it gave me serious vibes of the Spider-Man 67 show, because there was a whole whack of episodes where Peter would travel to other dimensions or travel outside the city, and they wouldn't have building backgrounds. They would just have those watercolor abstract backgrounds, and he'd be swinging on nothing. And in that scene in the movie, like the music kind of changed a little bit and got a little groovy and a little trippy. I thought it was like just a perfect little inclusion of something that reminded me of Spider-Man 67, which is like my intro to Spidey, because it was on in repeats, you know, in the 70s and 80s all the time.
It's like what were you web slinging off of? Like he'd be like really high up in the sky sometimes in the cartoon, and I don't know, maybe he was swinging from cloud to cloud like Wonder Woman. What's up, Plasty? But you know, that brings us to the first action figure that we can talk about. You know, it was released as there's a Marvel Legends black and gold suit. There is a Diamond Select black and gold suit,
and they call it black and gold is the name of it.
Black and gold is the name of it, and of course, you know, from what I've heard from Marvel Legends, they get costume designs before anything. You know, plot points. They don't really know the movies, so you know, this is black and gold. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't need to build the armadillo because I didn't buy the Spider-Man, and I'm glad I didn't because, you know, first of all, the black and gold suit doesn't really appeal to me. If it was like an official suit, those aren't really the colors I would like on a Spider-Man. So it looked good, but I was gonna pass.
Right.
And then knowing how it fits into the movie now, it's just his paint, the costume that he got paint thrown on him with, flipped inside out. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of glad I passed on this one.
Me too. Me too. There was also like a lot more detail on like the negative space areas on the suit when you flip it inside out. Like we all saw in the first film
Right.
when him and Ned, hacked the suit. They went in there. So there's a whole bunch of really small wiring and seams and things like that. It was like more than I think they could actually put on one of these figures. For me, like the Spidey figures kind of come in two versions. Like one where the version in the movie or whatever the content is, like video game or whatever, it's just such a great moment, or you have such a great connection to the thing in the movie or the show or whatever it is, that you want a representation in plastic. The other version would be then that the thing they make is just so great that whether you know what it is from or not, it's just a really great piece of toy.
Right.
And this one is neither of those two.
I was waiting for the but.
Well, it isn't.
Marks the Mark
I don't
says figures underrated. I have it and I love it. Hey, that's cool, man.
totally. Yeah, it doesn't hit me anywhere. So which is fine.
Yeah, same here. Mr. Jones says maybe there's a bunch of helicopters we didn't see or hear. I think that was the explanation in some of the older games. I was rewatching Amazing Spider-Man 1, and at the end, when he was shot in the leg and he had to go to Oscorp, that one guy that he saved was like a crane operator, and he's like, hey, all of you other crane operators, this is for Spider-Man. So then they all line up all their cranes so that he could just perfectly web sling all the way over. Super cheesy,
yeah.
But
at the same time,
that's one of the things.
Part of the fun is like seeing him swing on angles too. Like I can catch the top of that building, but then I got to catch the top of that building, and it changes the way that he goes through the city. Like I was just rewatching Spider-Man 3, the Tobey, the Sam Raimi movie. By the way, like I know we all like bash it for its faults, but it is like impeccably made. That movie looks fantastic still. The effects in it, I didn't actually fall asleep before Venom showed up, but the Spidey swinging around the city stuff was like just the evolution from the first film to the third, and the CGI. It looked great. It looked really good.
Mackerson loved watching Spider-Man 67 on Teletoon. Got to check out that reference.
Yeah, there isn't a specific scene that I'm thinking of in the show. It's just he would regularly go to other dimensions or leave the city. And it was just those things, the vibe of it, overall vibe was what got me. Does the Marvel Legends come with, like this one has the wiring, right?
This one is the SH Figure Arts. And you can see there's a lot of tech-like texture in between the webbing, the negative spaces, like you mentioned. I don't know.
Inside of the mask, it looks really cool if you want to see what Pete's suit looks like inside out, for sure.
Yeah, like sometimes the kids wake me up in the middle of the night and I put clothes on and then go back to bed in the morning. I wake up, my pajamas are inside out. So that's, I guess if I wanted an action figure of that, that's me. But this is the SH Figure Arts.
And he comes with the gauntlet. Does the Marvel Legends come with that gold magical gauntlet?
I don't believe so. This is the one where he could just zap people and bring them back into the wizard's dungeon.
Yeah.
And this is, this looks decent. But again, I don't need an inside-out suit on a Spider-Man. This one does have the bicep swivel on here. And the D. Amazing calls this in his most recent review, the articulated butt cheeks.
Yeah.
So these flaps, like as you rotate the leg, usually there's like gaps that open up. You can actually move those flaps around to make it look more aesthetically
disturbing,
seamless. No, there's less gaps. So articulated butt cheeks is what Darius calls it.
It's cool.
Also, the Spider-Man game, Mr. Jones mentioned it, and I saw it on YouTube today. Got a remaster on for PS5, and they added the integrated suit. I think black and gold, and you have the Iron Spider legs and everything. So
cool.
Really want a PlayStation 5 for that. And there's a Wolverine game coming out. Pretty awesome.
Wolverine.
So this was from the scene. He meets Electro and Sandman. They realize they're not the same ones. Let me move my phone out of here. What a professional. And at this point, you should have seen, I should have seen, you have Toby's villains, you have Andrew Garfield's villains in the movie. If I was really trying hard to analyze it, be like, oh yeah, so they're definitely going.
Oh yeah.
Right. But at this point, it's just like, you're just, you want to see, I'm just in the movie in the moment. I'm trying to see what happens. Peter decides, he finds out that the villains, some of them are pulled from the point where they're about to die. Like, I think Ock and Goblin were like, oh, I was fighting Spider-Man, and then that's the last thing I remember. Something, or even Electro.
That was
so
good and creepy.
Yeah, so they were pulled from, or maybe that's just the last thing they remember. Because Peter says he realizes that if we send them back, they're going to die. So why don't we try to fix them? But if you fix them, do they end up back at that point?
This whole thing,
and they're like, "Whoa, Spider-Man, I'm changed now. Don't kill me."
Yeah, that part's a little blurry, I think, and I think we just have to roll with it. And we'll get to this at the end, I think, as well. Do we forget the part where they catch the lizard, or is that
the lizard was already there?
Okay.
Strange
caught him.
Said he caught him already.
Yeah.
I also wanted to bring this up because I thought this was hilarious. Basically, instead of what Peter asked Doctor Strange in the movie, if he had just said, "Can you make everyone forget Mysterio," including whatever he said?
Yeah.
And then end like credits. That's it.
Yeah. When you start bringing in things like magic wishes, there's always a way to wish smarter. And
yes. But I saw this one. I thought it was hilarious. I just saved it for today.
It is good. It is good.
Goblin killed himself. Yeah, so he had the glider, and then Spidey jumped out of the way. Mm-hmm. So if you send them back, do they go to the same point?
It doesn't,
because their life continues there. Yeah. Is it a whole new timeline? Chat. What do you think?
Good question. If you go with the Avengers Endgame theory, right, changing someone's past does not change their future, because when you change their past, like their future is in their future. It's all good fun, but it's an alternate existence. What it comes down to is more like the spirit of it, which is, to me at least, is that you're giving these guys a second chance. You're at least going to try to give them a second chance,
right?
It's either we're automatically sending them back to die, or we're going to try to give them another chance. And Peter's supposed to be the kind of person that sees the best in others and gives everyone a chance to redeem themselves, considering that he himself made a mistake with his Uncle Ben's death and seeks redemption. So,
Jason,
yes, sir.
In the MCU,
good question.
Is Uncle Ben mentioned?
He is never. He is mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Even subtly, like with Peter's briefcase when he travels, it's Ben's initials, and he talks about how his uncle. You watch these old movies, like Star Wars movies with his uncle, or Aliens with his uncle. Right. It is mentioned. I guess the real question is, did the Uncle Ben thing happen to Tom Holland's Spider-Man?
Right.
And the assumption before this movie, I think for everyone, was of course it did.
Yes.
And then because of the way this movie plays out and how they, should we say now, or I'll just, that there's a proxy for Uncle Ben's death in this movie. It maybe casts a little bit of doubt if maybe he never had the Uncle Ben thing. Maybe there was a divorce, or he died of an illness, or whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's ambiguous after you finish this movie. There's the Stark thing, like him losing Mr. Stark is a big, huge part of the guilt that he carries. And then with the death in this movie, there's a pretty big one. Like, it's a huge hole in his heart. So it'll do the job of the Uncle Ben or Uncle Aaron death. But I don't know if it's clear whether or not.
I'm thinking that
I think it's ambiguous still.
They're like, okay, we're going to do a new Spider-Man. Let's not do another
right
origin story again. Everyone knows by now.
Third time in 15 years.
And then it got to a point where they're like, yeah, it's been told a million times over.
Yeah.
And it's now like, hey, we don't have that moment. Should we just do it with May here in this movie? But even though he's already Spider-Man. right?
Yeah.
I like to think Jason Alexander was.
Because on Seinfeld, right? Costanza has
No,
this
it's
thing
got
for
to be
Marissa Tomei.
Joe Pesci.
What's okay? I have to admit, I've never seen My Cousin Vinny.
I watched it once, like many years ago, but I know.
Was Marissa
context.
Tomei his girlfriend in that movie? Joe Pesci's girlfriend? Even though to me she's too young for him.
Because he's always Goodfellas age.
Was she the girlfriend?
I don't
You know she won an
remember.
Academy Award for that role.
Yeah.
Which is
Come on, I learned that from Seinfeld, even if I didn't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Come on, George and Susan were talking about. Yeah, Jason Alexander that'd be hilarious.
It would be. Sorry, I should stop playing with an action figure. I can hear it creaking in the
It's all
mic.
good.
It's the vinyl. His jacket.
Shout outs
Peter B.
to
Parker's jacket.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, have you noticed Jason's clearer picture quality?
Shouts to new computers. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
technology.
that YouTube money.
So future streams, more nice quality video.
For sure.
Yeah, so I just couldn't remember if Ben was. I know he didn't appear. He had to have existed, and it was. I guess everyone made the assumption that Peter had the same moment. Anyway, this is the Hot Toys black and gold suit. Before I forget, while we talked about black and gold suits already, this one, it's Hot Toys. It's 1/6 scale. It's huge. You're gonna have opportunities for more detail, so you can see the textures here. But it doesn't look inside. It doesn't really look inside out, right? This kind of tells me, and it says right here, prototype shown, that they were just given some sort of artwork and went with it. This doesn't exactly scream to you. There's like cables and things sticking out.
Right.
This could all be another costume on its own if there was no movie. So there's that.
So we've had 3 of these MCU Spider-Man movies. Does each movie have the same amount of suit to toy? Like, does each one get 3 suits? Like, what's the number that they're going with? Like, I'm arguing maybe that there's a quota, and that each movie has to produce a certain number of costumes for toy and merch.
I don't
Not
know.
that I think it's a bad thing, but maybe it's just a thing. The first movie's got at least the 2, but is there right? He's got his sweatsuit, his pajamas, and
The Scarlet Spider inspired.
Sure, and then the
homemade suit.
Of course, the homemade suit and the Stark. Was there a third suit in the first?
I don't recall. In action figure form, I don't.
Yes, in action figure form. Yes, there's the one where he's wearing the yellow jacket when he's trapped in the vault for. It comes in the 2-pack with Mary Jane.
Yeah. 2-pack with MJ. You're right.
Okay. Then in the second movie, he has obviously was it called an upgraded suit?
Is that the one with the black? I think so.
And then he has the Stark that he wears. He takes to Europe. And he wears the Iron Spider in the first when he's still in New York. Did they make all 3 again for the movie? I know they made. Okay. And then this one, there's the 3 suits again. Right?
I can only assume that they did.
I think they got a quota.
Let's go. Let's get back to the movie.
For sure.
So Peter's trying to help the 5 villains. We have Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, Lizard, and Sandman. I have to be honest with you. The Lizard, I didn't really remember when they finally saved him at the end, and then they showed the actor, and I'm like, I don't even know who the hell is this. So I went back to watch Amazing Spider-Man 1 again, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. Peter is able to successfully cure Doc Ock, the nanotech, and the
chip.
The chip and the arms were kind of controlling him and making him grumpy and grouchy all the time. So they fixed that. I love grumpy. That. Yeah, he was. They're saying he's like agitated or something, right? He's very aggressive all the time. So, and it's cool that he's using that that Stark machine
Yeah, that was
that
awesome.
they thought was a tanning bed.
Right.
In
And that's like a
Happy's
plot
place.
point for Happy, and probably a plot point for Armor Wars too.
Mhm.
Like the upcoming MCU series on Disney Plus. Because it's Stark tech that is in the wrong hands. It's escaped. And
Right.
because he had that, it gave them like legal right to seize all that Stark. Like there's something missing, so there's now that all the Stark stuff has been seized by the government, Stark tech is
Mhm.
going to leak, and this will be like the one thing that did it survive the buildings. I mean, maybe it was recovered also by the police when the SWAT team when they raid the building after the at the end of the second act. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a Stark tech jet like machine generator
Right.
of weapons that is like in the wild now as well. So maybe we'll see this come back to haunt.
Actually, Figgy Skinny says I saw that Green Goblin scene in the condo back in July. It was very hard keeping my mouth shut. I imagine, dude. Props to you. Good job. You're a hero. I love that throughout the scenes when Peter was getting the acceptance or rejection letters, him and the robot were building the Death Star
Mm.
at various stages, and it led up to that point. I love Jamie Foxx's delivery. He's like, "I have a question," and I thought it was something very serious. He's like, "Is this all your Lego?" Like, that hit close to home. Are these all your toys, Kevin? Why are they all over the house?
I like that the Jamie Foxx version. Like he's cool in this movie, as
Yeah,
opposed to Nerd Jamie Foxx. But Nerd Jamie Foxx would have wanted to see the Lego. He's like an engineer, right? Like
right.
he would be interested in that, just like any interesting person would be. Lego's awesome.
Yeah. Whereas this one was just like the energy, the power in this world is different. He's I like it. You can feel it through the kitchen wall.
Do you think they let him write his
Uh,
own lines to make it up to him? Like, just be in the movie, you can say what you want to say. Like, you're not going to give any plot things away, but you just write your own lines. It's okay. You just be as cool as you want.
maybe. Who knows? But you get more. You get some of Tom Holland's spider sense here. He's looking around, like the way he uses
That
it.
was awesome.
He's sensing
And
in
he
the room
knows,
what's
like,
wrong.
and he just
Yeah,
looks at everyone and it put everyone on edge in that moment. It was great.
and of course it's Norman, and his face just changes. It's
Yeah,
when Willem Dafoe does that Goblin voice, chills
yeah, it's great.
throughout my whole body. It's crazy.
Do you think
But
there's a
Aunt
reason they
May,
don't call it Spider Sense in the MCU?
I don't know.
I wonder if someone trademarked it. They can't.
They avoid it. They avoid it a little bit.
They really do with Peter Tingle, right?
Yeah. May gets the antidotes. The huge fight breaks out. Lizard escapes. J. Jonah Jameson. Let's not forget to mention him. He upgrades his Daily Bugle from like a little blog with green screen to like a huge news broadcast, news outlet throughout
He's
the
such
whole
a
thing.
jerk.
So that was, yeah. It was cool to see him
Absolutely.
as JJ. But then the fight breaks out. Spider-Man is punching Green Goblin in the face, and he's just staring back with like crazy eyes, totally unaffected by what's happening. And sure enough, an epic fight with Green Goblin in this instance leads to him, spoiler, killing Aunt May. But I thought her delivery of the line was very well done and very powerful. Like you knew it was coming,
Right.
but I still felt like very very emotional
Oh,
finally
yeah.
hearing it.
It,
How about
it, it
you?
was one of those things that, we didn't see coming. We didn't think she was going to die, right?
Because she
Like,
stood up for a bit.
yeah, she's got to catch her breath. Like that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking. That was really, really good. And this is where I'm talking about like spoilers and not spoilers. Watch it again. You'll still feel the thing, even though you know she's going to die.
Yeah,
You'll feel it
absolutely.
even more because you'll see like subtleties in her performance earlier than you have her death confirmed. You'll see like
Mhm.
earlier, oh, no, this is like, she's not okay. And you will know really, it hurts every time.
Yes, you notice a little bit more of like the weakness in when she's
Yeah.
standing and moving. Maybe she's favoring that side where she's bleeding out of. And also Tom Holland was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, watching him in emotional distress is awful. But so, no, okay, I'm not gonna. We're good. Yeah, it was an awesome performance from both. I was moved for sure.
Marks the Mark says I cried twice due to Tom's performance in that scene. I think I tried to merge too many words into one. Saves time. Why say a lot word when few word do the trick? So we cut to, sorry, then the police show up, or whatever that department is that was interrogating them before, and Peter's on the run. We cut
I think
to
it's the
Ned.
FBI.
Is it FBI or is that Department of?
I think it's FBI, but it could be something Marvel too. You know,
Yeah,
like in cooperation with Damage Control, in cooperation with, yeah.
Yeah, but we cut to Ned at his house with MJ, and they're waiting because they're holding the cube that's containing the spell, and the point was Peter's like, if you don't hear from me, send them all back. All right, that'll be the final failsafe. So you guys run off. I don't want you guys in the mix. I don't want you guys being targeted. Yes, sir. Hand raised.
I love how they don't say like, if you don't hear from me by midnight.
Yeah,
it's just if you don't hear from me, like, okay, well, yeah. Just
in general. Yeah.
Also, super heartbreaking whenever a character like those hero characters have to leave the dead body. They don't get to like take them. They don't get to. There's no mourning period. There's no funeral. Like you have to leave this person that is your mother, like right then and there, and abandon them even in death. Like it's heartbreaking. So yeah, the good cut to MJ, and I mean I think everyone felt the same way. Like Ned's aunt or grandmother, pardon me, like she steals scenes. Like it was awesome.
It was ridiculous.
It was so much fun.
She made, well, Ned, he's wearing the sling ring, and he's waving around, and he makes a wish. It's that whole genie thing again. It's like, I wish I could be a real boy. I don't know, whatever. He's like, I wish I could see Peter. Well, Genie says you didn't specify which Peter, and since you already knew that spider villains from other universes were here, it only stands to reason that the spider men also got pulled through, or they were chasing them. So it calls, the sling ring calls and opens a portal to, you see the outline silhouette of a Spider-Man, and you're sitting next to me. I was like, oh, Jason. And you're like, shut up, loser. I was like, no, it's gonna happen. It comes through, jumps through. It's amazing Spider-Man suit, pulls the mask off, big poofy.
His dude was out of control.
Hair, yeah, it's the same hair from when he was Spider-Man,
except for his hairline's back a few inches.
That's
all good. It's all good.
The original movie, his hair was down a bit, so you didn't know. Anyway, they make him like prove he's Spider-Man. It's like,
that was so much fun.
Hanging one hand from the ceiling's not enough for you. Stop throwing breads at me. I love that.
Yeah, it was great.
Grandmother. Tori Rensu says Lola means grandmother. It was a proud Filipino moment.
I think what's something that adds to it is they did not do subtitles, right? She was speaking in Tagalog, and it just like we're all going to listen to it, and we all kind of understand that like the tone of what she's saying, and then we know Ned's going to translate, and it was so much fun. It was really,
except for, can you clean those cobwebs? They made him,
which was the joke, right? Like,
and then, we didn't. That part was awesome.
Yeah, if they had subtitles, it would have ruined it.
And that was great to see, man. I liked the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I was kind of sad when the franchise ended. I'm like, oh great, they're gonna do another reboot. Sure. I thought it was good, and I wasn't. It was unfortunate that its time got cut short, and I was talking to DK about it, and he's saying, the sales, the movie numbers weren't really there for it.
Sure.
And I can kind of see that, because Tobey Spider-Man, first time seeing Spider-Man on screen, also amazing villains, right? Whereas yeah, Andrew Garfield was amazing as Peter Parker, but nobody's really going to a Spider-Man movie for the acting. You want to see like action, fights, Spider-Man villain stuff like that. So maybe that all kind of contributed to lacking sales, I guess. Movie
Yeah,
numbers, box
the
office.
sales of like with Iron Man, the sales of Spider-Man 3, the one with Venom and Sandman and whatever people want to call uh, Goblin's kid, the three villain thing. Like that movie
Mm,
had an unbelievably huge theater run. Like it was bigger than the first two. The movie isn't as like well regarded by most people. You know, problems with too many villains. The plot is like all over the
mhm.
place sometimes. Of course, all the Tobey Maguire silliness, the dancing, yeah, all that. Inside the movie, there are issues with in terms of the money that the movie made. It's a gold mine.
Yeah,
Then you get Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's diminishing and diminishing. And
yeah,
then the other way to look at it is like, a hero's only as good as his villains. And
yeah.
we look at these Spidey villains, and everyone loves the Doc Ock performance. Everyone loves the Green Goblin performance. No one's really talking about um, what's his first name?
This guy, the
Dahan,
lizard.
the Lizard. Okay, Reese Evans is the Lizard. It's fine. I mean, the he's a good actor, but he's like no one's favorite bad guy. No
Yeah,
one loves the Electro and the Green Goblin in that movie. Um, I forget his name, but it's Dahan is his last name. Like no one loved that version of Green Goblin. So like you can love Andrew Garfield, like that's makes total sense, and you
yeah.
can enjoy the movies. That's all good too, but they weren't getting what they needed out of those films from a studio point of view. And then they
Action
negotiated
figures.
that stuff with Marvel, right? They
Yeah,
worked out that issue for 2015's Civil War.
right.
So the window disappeared to make a third movie, but also it felt like there was a diminishing return each time.
I think I was kind of sour on Tom Holland Spider Man for that reason. Like, why didn't they use Andrew
Sure,
Garfield for continuity's sake? But that's kind of silly now in hindsight.
it is
Uh,
and it isn't. I mean, we
yeah,
like continuity, right? I mean, if the MCU doesn't prove anything else, it proves that people want things to connect.
yeah.
Like that, it's meaningful for a lot of
That's
people,
the huge thing for MCU over DC that they
among
pull
many
things
other
together.
things. I mean, but
Sure.
continuity is one of the selling points of like here we were talking about Daredevil. Like, does it fit this? Does it fit that? Like we want them to connect. It's a desire that we have, and Marvel, like in Feige and company, they tapped into that really really well.
Hmm.
So I get why they rebooted, started fresh with Spider-Man, but also don't forget like Feige's there from the beginning, not of the MCU. I mean of Marvel movies. He's on set for all those X-Men movies. He's a producer. He's an executive producer on Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3. Like I saw his name in the credits. Executive producer Stan Lee and Kevin Feige.
Hmm.
So he watches, he sees how those movies are made, and he knows when he has a voice and when he has to shut up. And he's taking
Nice.
notes. He's taking notes. He's making a list, checking it twice, and when he has a chance to do it his own way, out of the gate, first movie, Iron Man, like knock it out of the park. So this guy knows, proven track record, did it right, and he didn't want to take the baggage of what was happening with Sony's work. Right, there were problems in what they were doing. He didn't like that crane scene, Kevin. So
Stupid.
he's like, I got to retcon out that crane scene. That's
Oh
all.
my gosh. Okay. Yeah, they're like Garfield.
Yeah, the
No,
audience
you
was
did
so
not. Why
happy.
didn't you say anything when you were swinging from the cranes? Uh, Action Figure Skinny says, "Do people clap in your theater when Spider-Man showed up? When we watched, nobody clapped. I don't believe. When I watched it the second time, there was some applause, and even though I knew it was coming the second viewing, I was still like, yes.
Right.
I still got the goosebumps too. But yeah, Toby Spider-Man wasn't. I don't know. His acting wasn't the greatest. It's a little
Come
to me.
on,
It's in comparison, like it's the weakest of all of them.
youth pastor
Um,
Toby.
yeah. So exactly.
I think the theater reaction also depends on where and when. So, YouTube audience, note please, Kevin, you and I saw it in the afternoon on a weekend. So it
Mhm.
was a family audience. There were a lot of kids there. And I think if we had been in the theater on a weeknight or a weekend night when it's adults and fans, it would have gone through the roof as well. Also, Canadian
And
audiences are pretty subdued.
this is what I wanted to know when we left the theater, because we were there with your kids,
Who didn't
and
want
I
to be there
asked,
anymore. They wanted
no,
to
no,
go.
no, and I asked if your son had seen the previous two series of Spider-Man movies, because I wanted to know, to somebody who hasn't seen those, how do they feel about this movie? Because it's having those two Spider-Men show up definitely is there to appeal to those fans. So me and you seeing it, fans who have been watching that all the time
Here comes my
in the last
challenge.
years. What's that?
Here comes my challenge. I agree, and
You're
I
using
also
your one
disagree.
challenge?
My one challenge. So it hits the nostalgia buttons for people who have nostalgia. But
Mhm.
don't forget, arguably the best Spider-Man movie of all time
I see.
is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
And even though none of those characters walked in there with previous movies, we all bought in. So for my kids,
Okay.
whether they had seen or hadn't seen the previous trilogy and almost trilogy,
Mhm.
they embrace the idea of various Spider-Men.
Okay.
So they're like,
That's
oh,
a
it's
very
more
good
Spider-Man.
point.
And so my kids have seen Spidey 1, Spidey 2. They both bailed on Spidey 3. They have seen half of Amazing Spider-Man and they both bailed. They're bored. If you're raised on MCU,
But the acting.
no, if you're raised on MCU, the standards for are different.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Things
okay,
change.
so keep that in mind. That my kids were weaned on MCU movies.
So you're gonna say my kids are weenies.
No, they might
They
be.
were weaned on.
They might be, but they were weaned on MCU movies for sure.
So when the Garfield era ended, I kind of I mean the toys, if you look back, Electro wasn't a great Marvel legend. And the Spider-Man, I think the Spider-Man Marvel Legend was pretty good at the time.
Sure.
But there was I believe, Walmart exclusive Andrew Garfield Spider-Man that came with this backpack, the skateboard, the unmasked Garfield head, and the head swap. I had this mint on card. For whatever reason, I never opened it. And then when it ended, I'm like, you know what? It's worth whatever. I'm just gonna sell it now. And yeah, I kind of want it back.
Sorry, dude. But I'm not
Fluff
giving
in
it
my
back.
mouth.
I'm not giving it back. I'm keeping it.
I don't think you have it.
No.
And
No,
that
just kidding.
backpack, Ryan
I know.
on the
I think
last
about it
Marvel
all the
Legends
time.
stream, he held up the backpack from his backpack. So this is the first thing that I thought of, this figure. Anyone in the chat have this figure back in the day? Let me know. But I wish I still had it, because display purposes now, toy photography purposes now, it would be killer. I don't know what you have. What do you have remaining from old Spider-Man merch?
So I have some
Action
old.
figures.
I have my Secret Wars Spider-Man from the 80s.
Okay, let's bring it a little bit more current to, like, we don't need to go into Mego or whatever.
I had that
like,
Mego one, and you could take off all his clothes, but the head would stay masked. It was great.
Yes.
He was like naked Spider-Man, with just a mask on. It was nice and disturbing. I do have some Marvel Legends, obviously. I did give away my Tobey Maguire ones years ago when I started to when I got back into collecting Marvel Legends. The Tobey Maguire ones, just they don't fit. They didn't hold meaning to me over time, so I gave them to other kids in the neighborhood or whatever that didn't have
instead of
Spider-Mans.
candy. He just
I don't mean at
Tobey
Halloween.
Maguire Spider-Man on Halloween.
If there'd be like a 3-year-old that moves in next door and he just loves Spider-Man and he doesn't have it, like, okay, you have my old. I have 10 others. So there you go.
Oh, Yoko.
Well, we can get you one, Yoko. I have some old Tobey Maguires I can give away, but I got a bunch here, man. Where are we gonna start?
Well, Torrensu mentioned regretting not getting the Mafex Amazing Spider-Man. They had like 2 deluxe sets. I think there was one with the firefighter's hat, NYFD helmet, and all that stuff. And they were on clearance from BBTS or somebody recently, maybe like within the last year for super cheap, like $30-$40 for a Mafex set.
That's awesome.
So
he's one of those figures, or one of those characters, I should say, that I would consider getting an import. I don't generally get imports.
Try getting it now.
But that would Well, there'll always be more. I'm not worried about it. But
I'm
I
hoping
do have.
there's more. We'll get to that at the end of the stream. Yes. What do you have?
These awesome dudes. I love these guys. My little retros. I love these things. If they were candy, I would eat them. They're so good.
You did hand out Tobey Maguire for Halloween, so I wouldn't doubt that.
Where do we start with? I got my retro collection, my retro Spidey. I ripped him right off that card. Put that card in the recycle. No problem. Cold heart, my friend. Cold heart.
That's fine.
He's awesome. Love this guy. Where are we? Like I got tons of Spideys here. Homemade suit. I love
that homemade suit.
Love it. I love it. He's so much fun to play with. The head that comes with him, the unmasked head, is atrocious. But
did you choreograph the
double thumbs down. I got my video game Spidey. I love this guy. I love the white logo. I think it pops amazing. And I like he's a beefier dude. Yep. I got my Stark suit. Is that what we're calling it?
Sure.
This one I think came from that the Vulture wave. Got my Vulture downstairs. I got this guy from
is it the 2-pack?
He's from the 2-pack. Yeah. I think I bought this one off Wasky.
Nice. And that one came with unmasked head.
This one came with an unmasked head that is there. Unmasked head. And I think I also had the regular one that was on the single that came in an Infinity War wave, maybe, or an Endgame wave. But I gave that away to a kid in the neighborhood who didn't have a Spider-Man. I got Peter B hanging with me. Love this guy. Really, that's my favorite Spider-Man movie by far. That one.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of people agree
awesome
with that.
Dude. Love this guy too.
Oh,
you've been
dude,
posting some amazing.
Oh, sorry, Sentinel.
The one you've been posting is phenomenal. Like, how could everyone
see those poses?
What youth slang should I use for this? Like, it is
legit. It's legit. Fire.
Sure, it's fire. Sure.
It's
off the chain. Like, that's so great.
Are you the professor that had the slang translated?
No.
The one where it says it slaps and then it is of high quality.
Oh, that's awesome.
Was that your screenshot?
Definitely. And I have another Spidey, but he's on the shelf. I have it this way. He's right there. That's the video game Miles. No way. I didn't bring him down. He's in there.
It's all good.
Those are the ones that I have in the room at the moment. I think I have a couple more in the basement somewhere in the bin. But I love all
after
these
the
guys.
movie.
I didn't get any from Far From Home. I resisted getting the upgraded suit, that one, because he's shiny in the wrong places, and the lines felt like it was half painted.
Well, after the movie, I was on the hype, and I went hunting for this one. This is the Walmart exclusive.
How is that one different? Okay, is the only difference that he has the Tom Holland head, and it's the same figure as the one from Far From Home?
I don't have the Far From Home one, so I couldn't tell you. But I don't think there's...
in the chat, you guys can fill us in on this one. I was wondering if it's the same figure.
But I went back to the collection. This was one that I've always really liked. This is Tobey Maguire from the final scene. The Toy Biz Spider-Man figures were great in the sense that they had really cool props. Like, one of them had a gargoyle that it has a clip at the bottom, like a screw, so you can put it at the end of I have it there too. Yeah. I have it at the end of a bookshelf. You can have it on the end of your desk. If there's a little zip line at the bottom, you can have them sit on top. Very cool. There's the Norman Osborn Green Goblin had this chair, this armchair, fancy leather chair that you can plug in a mask on. He could sit in. A lot of those, they're a little bit smaller in terms of scale, the props, but it was cool that they included it. And one of them had a full street lamp with part of a sidewalk that you can put on. The accessories were amazing. Yeah. But this battle damaged one from the end scene, I usually display him because he's a little bit wiggly anyway. So I display him kind of just dying, and I have an MJ kneeling next to him on display. But in terms of when this came out, like this was probably amazing
Yeah,
back
it
then,
was
right?
really it was a level up for sure. I mean, I was not heavy into collecting in the early 2000s, and this figure got me off, off my office chair
Got
from
me
work to go down to
my
Silver
office.
Snail and buy. Yeah, I picked this one up. Not this particular figure, but the other one that you said that was on that had the gargoyle. And I played with that thing a ton. I probably had about 3 or 4 action figures at the time, and it was a mainstay in my collection for a decade and a half.
Again, not great, but from that time period,
Yeah, it was awesome.
this was killer. Look at this knee articulation, toe articulation. You didn't have any hand swaps though, so he was permanently thwipping, but his fingers were articulated. So if he wasn't thwipping, he was
That should be your new Spider-Man podcast title, by the way.
permanently thwipping.
Yeah. Can't
Okay,
stop,
I'll start
won't
a new
stop.
podcast. So great figures. I just don't
Yeah.
have an Andrew Garfield to kind of complete the trio right now.
Yet, I'm telling you, man, with the response that this movie got, don't be surprised if we see new versions of an Andrew Garfield
I hope
and
so.
Tobey Maguire, either at this point in their age or back when. I wouldn't be surprised if we get both figures again.
That would be cool. Hopefully there aren't any issues getting like, it's old franchises, right? I don't know if they can, or maybe they get
Sony
it based
owns
on
it.
the current look. Yeah.
It's Sony's property, and whoever, and they're in partnership with Marvel and Hasbro. So yeah, likeness rights, work that out. Let's go. Let's get our figures. You got an audience for it.
All right. Back to the film.
Oh yeah.
Aunt May is dead. There's a movie to discuss. Toby comes through dressed as the youth pastor, and they kind of shoot webs at each other as their reactionary measure. I thought that was pretty awesome. And they go to kind of convince, well, they're going to go check up on Tom Holland. We're just going to go by actor names now for simplicity's sake. And when they emerge from the shadows, they kind of like on the top of that tower. That was so cool, man. And
It was
then
great.
they all talk about their one moment, because Tom Holland's about to quit. He's like, "This is it." It seemed to me he was saying he's not gonna be Spider-Man anymore. Like he was quitting. Send them back to your world. You guys deal with them. And then they all connect on with great power comes great responsibility quote. And he's like, "Oh, how did you know?" He said, "Well, my Uncle Ben said that." Yeah, me too. That was really, really awesome. And have them kind of recall some of the things that happened in their worlds, things that we saw in the movies. And so they decide, let's get this done. They go to like a regular, were they just in the high school?
They were on top of the high school, yeah. And they went into the science lab.
They just went to a high school science
His
lab
high school.
and
yeah.
Right. And we're able to finish off the cures for these super villains, which I guess they're really good scientists if they can do that.
I like how Andrew Garfield has to put on a lab coat. I need to wear a lab coat because,
Yeah, he took somebody's water bottle. Customs by Machi, what's going on? Says, would be cool if we got a 2-pack of both Andrew and Toby with unmasked. That would be too easy.
But it's what we want, right?
Yo, absolutely.
I think everyone wants that.
Just make it a 3-pack. Just charge me more. I'll buy it.
What's
the
third?
Another...
What's the third figure? You want Tom Holland in there?
I don't want it, but if they threw it in there to be like, hey, you can have all 3, and now you're charging $90 Canadian or whatever. Yeah, okay.
So let's play. What is the Andrew Garfield figure? Is it a battle damaged one? Is it a, goblin fight one?
No, it's modern day.
Just straight up?
Or No Way Home. Yeah, give me classic.
Or is it the final outfit at the end of the movie one?
The final outfit.
It's called the hand sewn. The hand sewn suit.
Oh, for Tom Holland? Yeah, that'd be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
That'd be a perfect way if you could reuse a buck somewhere and then just paint it in those colors. Yeah, I'm down for that. Toy Rensu says I need a Mezco 3-pack. Holland, Garfield, and Maguire sounds like a law firm.
I wonder if the
represents
order
it, but
changes it. If it's better, if it's, what the best ending name is.
Maguire. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really flow if you put Maguire first. You got the going. But yeah, final suit. I
Okay.
could see that. All right. So the scene in the lab chat. How did you feel about that scene,
I enjoy all of it. I like
Jason?
banter sometimes more than the action,
That scene wasn't really about what they were doing,
No.
because if they couldn't, they kind of knew
Right.
it's like, yeah, they're just gonna make here's in a high school lab. But
Yes.
here's the interaction. This is the meat of this
Yes.
part. It's them getting to know each other, their differences, their similarities, and that was great. So
Totally.
it wasn't about what was really happening. Like Peter, yes. Like no, that Peter, no Peter. Yeah, that whole thing. Whoops, punch the mic. Tough guy. And of course, Ned out of nowhere is like, and I promise not to turn into a supervillain and try to kill you. And Tom Holland's like, okay, thank you. Ned asking about the best friend. Oh yeah, the pretty gloomy outcomes for some of the other
Oh yeah.
other universes.
Well, that's one of like the tropes of both Batman and Spider-Man stories is everyone around them dies. You know what I mean? Once you discover their identity, like you're not long for this world. If Batman reveals who he is to you, you're like, you're dead by the end of the movie. Ms. Lola was my favorite part of the movie too. I'm exaggerating. It was definitely one of my favorite parts. I love that.
Put her in the 3-pack. So they have the cure. The plan is to lure all the villains out, and the showdown is at the Statue of Liberty. Peter goes on a stream with J. Jonah Jameson, kind of baiting everyone, all the villains over there, to the Statue of Liberty, which is now being refitted with a cap shield, which is pretty cool.
A good setting for Spider-Man. Anywhere there's scaffolding,
Yes, there you go. He can swing.
The advantage to him is huge. It's a good spot.
Oh, this is what I knew I would forget this. The battle with Strange in the Mirrorverse.
Oh yeah.
That was, it wasn't anything.
It's crazy.
It wasn't very different from the Doctor Strange movie, but that part of the movie was awesome. And to get more of it, I was really hyped to see that. Even though it's like the train going through, and Peter using science and math to trick Doctor Strange. I thought that part was great.
It was.
And Strange using the portals against Spider-Man. He's flipping himself through the portal back and forth. Those were great fights.
Yeah,
and it was really cool when he separated Peter's astral form from the body, but the body was still reactionary. Even without a mind. It's like, that spider sense thing. I
don't think anybody saw that coming. Like that's a really fun gag to like, oh yeah, his body is, his abilities are beyond his consciousness. Like that is right. That is super cool. That is super cool.
I love that part. And I knew I would forget that, to bring that up for whatever reason. But that's important now because around this time is when Strange returns.
Right, when Peter also makes the decision, right? He makes that decision this is what brings about the third act. Like, I'm going to get control over the situation and we're going to execute a plan. Mm-hmm. We're not just setting them back, like Doctor Strange said. I'm making a decision to give everyone a second chance.
Right. And, we get a little bit more interaction with the 3 Spider-Men, how they're like, I went to outer space. It's like, I fought this villain. I fought an alien with like this black goop. He's like, I fought a Russian dude in a rhino suit. And then I love the camaraderie there. Like they're brothers basically.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Like, no man, let's hold on about this "you're not awesome" part. And he's trying to hype up Andrew Garfield. Like that was great to see. He was cracking his back. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And of course the line about the web shooters. Like, do you shoot webs out of anywhere else?
It was good fun.
It was.
A little
And
Kevin
man,
Smith humor for us, right? Like, did you ever see Mallrats? Like, is it something that it's in your wheelhouse as a
yeah, I've seen it
moviegoer?
a few times.
So there's that whole part where he's just obsessed with superhero dogs and with the Thing and Mr. Fantastic and all. It just keeps going. Like, so that conversation reminded me of like a Kevin Smith moment for sure.
Yeah. But man, when their first round, they kind of get their asses handed to them. They're like, I don't know how to fight as a team. It's like, I was on the Avengers, though.
What are the
That's
Avengers?
awesome. Is that a band? So I love that part. And
Yeah.
then they're like, we have to work together. But were they kind of syncing their spider senses? Because all they had to say was work together. And then it's like, oh, okay, this is
Right.
the Matrix. It's
Well,
just
come on.
uploaded into my brain. Let's
In
just say, for the story's sake, spider sense, they can
right. Well, there was that awesome
communicate.
thing in Spider-Verse, right? Where Peter meets Miles and Miles' color of his spider sense is
Mhm.
one end of the spectrum and Peter's is another, and they eventually both end up in the blue red. And they like sync up and like, oh, and it's this unspoken but
Mhm.
visual cue that they are now aligned. And that's for our sake, let's imagine that kind of thing happens too in this, where they realize that if they sense each other's spider sense, like if they just
Mhm.
go by instinct, it'll work out. They probably should have maybe hinted at it sooner. Like if it's going to be the thing that saves them in the end,
Yeah.
then you got to set it up put a little something earlier where
Mhm.
they get a vibe from each other that is, yeah, you hinted it. It would have made that a little bit richer, but it was good. I laughed. It's good fun.
When they kind of set that plan in motion, the plan as in just saying, hey, let's work as a team, but then the three of them start running off the end of the
Yeah, it was
scaffolding, and
awesome.
like this is going to be some epic shit right now. And they're swinging. It's freaking glorious. All three of them at the same time. At one point, I
Yeah,
think it's Tom Holland who like grabs the webs of the other two and kind of like loops them around in another direction, swings it. It's so cool, man.
yeah. I have to admit, the first time I saw it, I was just waiting to find out what hits Lizard in the face. So I remember you were avoiding spoilers and like trailers and things at some point, weren't you?
Mhm.
So you heard about like the footage where there was like a ghost they had like it was really clear from a trailer from a different country that the scene where the three villains are coming in this way and the three Spideys are going in this way. I'm doing four to
Right.
make it three. That there's they only show this hand one Spidey, and they show this guy getting knocked in the face. Like there's something
Right.
going on here. So everyone was saying like, well, obviously there are more characters in this movie because they just digitally removed somebody. So when
That
that
was a
scene
killer
came up,
shot, though.
it was when the scene came up, I was just looking at Lizard's face, like what's going to be the thing that gets him.
Right.
It was distracting. I wish I had not have known about that in advance.
I would like that as a mural like poster. It
All
was
right,
it was
man,
gorgeous.
just commission me. I'll do one for you. You pick the
All
artist, I'll do the
three.
style.
I picked the. I want
Because some
it
people
as
want a
like a
different style than I
Renaissance.
would do naturally, right?
Yeah.
I would go John Romita Senior and like brush ink that thing. So it would be all old school. But I know you also like stuff that's cell shaded and digital art and like, yeah. Anyway, but go on. It would be a
Well, I
cool
can
poster.
appreciate like different art styles from
Oh,
different eras.
you should do an action figure version of that.
There you
Some
go.
toy photography. Like that's this channel. So yeah, man. Toy photography that.
Somebody will do it
If they haven't
once
already.
the spoiler bans.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, awesome fight there. Goblin ends up coming through, blows up the spell box. Strange can't contain it at this point. Peter. Okay, so they save Doc Ock, the whatever actor who I don't remember comes back. I see his part of his face, and I still don't remember him at this point. So
Are
I
you
have to go
talking about
back
the
and watch
lizard?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Or are you talking
Yeah,
about
the lizard.
okay,
No,
his name
not Doc Ock. Sorry, the lizard.
I think his name is he has a Welsh name, but I would think it's pronounced Rhys Evans. It's just spelt RY or RHYS and then Ifans, but a lot of times they just have unique spelling in Welsh, but it's still pronounced relatively close to English. But maybe he's not. Maybe he's called Rice Evans. I don't know. But I just call him Rhys Evans.
I really like that, Peter's parents were a big part of that movie. What they did, and there's like wasn't like hidden compartments for Peter's lab, and there's like espionage and all this stuff.
You like that stuff? Yeah.
It's a different angle. You don't see it all the time, right?
For sure.
I think in the cartoon didn't they get cloned at some point, or they're spies? Some people said they were in comic lines.
Right? They tried to reframe things. I thought it took for me.
To see that.
I thought it took away a lot. Like it moved the attention away from Peter and made it more about some sort of legacy and some sort of parents thing, as opposed to Peter being this unique person. It's like, no. It was planned that you were going to be Spider-Man. There's something in your DNA, you know, which is cool too. But it felt like a retcon of Spider-Man as opposed to down to like where he comes from, the Ditko, Stanley,
True. It's a different background. You mentioned earlier, did they let Jamie Foxx write some of his lines? The part where he's like, Spider-Man, you're always saving poor people. You're in Brooklyn. I thought you'd be black.
That was awesome.
It wasn't that line, but it was Andrew Garfield's reaction. He was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's just the way he did. Obviously, I'm not going to do it as well. But he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I thought that was hilarious because it's like, what can you really say to that?
Yeah.
But this whole time, after they've been cured, they're just waiting there. Well, I'll get to that part after. And then it's the Goblin fight. Tom Holland gets to Green Goblin. It's another like you feel every hit in this fight. I wanted to. Brutal. Have you ever sat in the D box section in the theater where it's like it moves and reacts to things in the movie? I don't know if that's too distracting, but I want to try it one time. Have you ever?
Honestly, if you just buy me a soda at the theater, I'll just go behind your chair and just shake it, or just kick you. Every time I'm bored, I just kick your chair.
There's a kid behind me kicking the seat one time. I don't like that, but maybe he has to choreograph it in the movie.
Do not think I've ever sat in a D-box seat now that I think about it.
All right. Well, I feel like
the intensity of that fight is what you're saying, right? Like you would have your chair moves and yeah.
It was nuts to a point where Tom Holland finally gets the better of Willem Dafoe, and he's gonna kill him with a Goblin glider, get revenge, and the last second Tobey Maguire jumps in, and he does one more like harder thrust. He's like he still hasn't changed his mind. He's gonna go through with it, try even harder. Why did Tobey need to get stabbed? He didn't die.
No, he didn't die. He actually was standing up at the end, and he managed.
It was a shock value for 3 seconds, and I just need to lay down.
Okay, I've
been stabbed before.
I have a story reason why it's there. I don't know if it executes smoothly there. From a story point of view, it's like he's physically going to set an example of a Spider-Man's values. Spider-Man doesn't kill, and I believe this so much that I'm going to put myself in a vulnerable position and maybe even die for it. And me getting stabbed through the back is going to bring you back, Tom Holland, to to clearly help remind you what your core values are. Like, this is what we believe. We save lives, and like it's the slap in the face, the splash water to make you remember who you are. Like it's an awakening, It also reminded me, of course, of the moment in Spider-Man 2 when the wall is falling on Mary Jane and Peter gets in there, Tobey Maguire unmasked, and he makes like the face that like people kind of still make fun of him for, like this sort of strained face. He looks down at Mary Jane and is like, hi, they just have this vulnerable moment as he's incredibly strained, and it was funny, but it reminded me of that, like him just the focus of the shot and holding something up, And like it shows his power. He's Tom Holland is at his most angry and most adrenaline filled, and Toby's like, no, that's not what we do, son.
We jumped ahead a little bit, but let's not forget Andrew Garfield calls back. He
Oh yeah,
mentioned earlier in the movie about in his universe how he lost Gwen Stacy.
great moment.
During this fight, this world's MJ gets knocked off the scaffolding, and Tom Holland goes to save. And at that moment, I'm already like shit, something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
And then, of course, he gets snatched out of the air by the Green Goblin. Andrew Garfield goes, and then he jumps to chase after her. And I'm like, this is crazy. I don't know what's happening, how it's gonna play out. Something's gonna play out. I'm like, there's no way she's gonna die. Everything's running through your mind at this
sure.
time. He goes straight for the catch and then the recovery. And speaking to his acting, man, just the look on his face. MJ, because MJ is there, she's like, you okay? And the way they're checking on each other, the way he reacted to her, man, that's when I lost it in the movie. And I still kind of feel it.
I can see
working
it
up now, man. It's insane.
Fantastic.
Just like you feel it through the whole like core of your being. It was insane.
Yeah.
Even the second time, the second watch of the movie.
This tells me that also like this is the core of the movie, which is, as Jason Lowe is saying, redeemed, like second chances, right? The chance to fix yourself. So Peter is Tom Holland is deciding, because of what May tells him, that everyone deserves a second chance. We don't give up on people. We give them the opportunity to redeem themselves. And I feel like this is the theme of the whole movie, because these are the moments that have the most emotional weight. These are the things that like we respond to as an audience. Toby is saying, like, he's putting his life on the line to believe in second chances and redemption. Andrew Garfield gets redeemed, gets a second chance to save the love of his life, in a way, figuratively speaking. May dies for it. It needs to be a bigger part of some of the key choices earlier on in the movie. Peter wants a second chance.
Right.
To fix the university thing, getting at MIT, second chance to help his friends. Like it's definitely in there. It just, the whole movie, it plays second fiddle to the nostalgia, Like, nostalgia is ahead of the theme, which is, I think what I bumped up against, but you had no problem with it. Like you were just,
no,
this is like your favorite moment of your entire life. Forget children, forget about, all your YouTube fame.
Well, I did leave them at home to watch the movie that day. But man, like for someone who hasn't seen,
that
doesn't know about that, that's just another scene. There's like, why is that Asian guy over there bawling his eyes out? I don't know what's going on. Why is he crying? What a weirdo. But to me, it's like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man has been haunted by that moment every day since it's happened.
I gotta add to
done
this
differently. Right? About, he actually does it.
Like the first major death in Marvel Comics ever is Gwen Stacy dying in battle with Green Goblin, where she falls to her death. Do you know about this too? Like it's in the zeitgeist, or not zeitgeist. It's in like the DNA of Spider-Man, is that he's gonna lose Gwen. That's just gonna happen. He's gonna lose her, and it's like this huge moment that it's supposed to haunt him. It's like the second big death in like his grand narrative. First being Uncle Ben, second one being his first love, Gwen Stacy, and she dies at the hands of Green Goblin, and he goes to save her, and like he gets the web as she's falling off a bridge in New York. I want to say the Brooklyn Bridge, but I don't actually know my bridges in New York City, so forgive me. But he shoots the web as he's gonna go rescue her onto her leg. And like her fall, she doesn't hit the ground. I think her neck snaps.
It's like the snap of a whip, right?
Yeah. And it was like she's either going to fall or I got to try and save her. And his saving her snaps her neck. And then, Green Goblin dies as well. Like Peter, they go at it and it ends badly. But like this thing, it's haunts Spider-Man throughout. It's not just the Garfield. It's like the Garfield was referencing this bigger tragedy in this version of Spider. So it was a really awesome one. Like it's great to have him have the chance to fix this. Huge.
And it was just that one look from how he played it in that scene,
Yeah.
man. It's that's the Garfield Spider-Man. It was the acting, it was the expression. When I was watching Amazing Spider-Man, there's a scene where there's a car hanging off the side of a building, a bridge, and there's a kid inside.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And he's like, "Hey, kid, put on the mask."
Yeah.
And in that scene,
Great.
the car falls and the kid is just hanging there. He was in the car, and then that's when he thwips and catches the kid. And to me, in my head, I'm like, with the Gwen Stacy thing, he's like, "Hey, that's what I did with the kid. That's what I got to do right now." That set it up for that's how he's going to say, even though it's later on, much later on.
Sure.
But like that kind of first instance, he's like, "Oh, it worked before. In this moment, that's my best option. I'm going to do it
Yeah.
again, except this time the object is in motion, whereas before the kid was basically just hovering there."
Right.
But man, that
was
scene,
great. It was really good that they gave him the moment. Like the audience wanted it, right? And the character needed it.
Mhm.
And they set that up too, that he's been haunted by his past, right? He talks about that he's no longer pulling his punches, right?
Yeah.
Like things got dark for him. So they've set up that he's had a tragic arc. And what better time for him now to have a third movie? We all want it. The audience is there for it, right?
Please.
Even if it's a 1 hour 1 hour Disney Plus thing, I'm all like, whatever you want to do. I want to see Andrew Garfield again and, get his world back together. Yeah.
Well, Green Goblin blows up the spell. So as he's being defeated, Doctor Strange is in the background trying to contain everything. There are people from different multiverses who know that Peter Parker or who Peter Parker is. They're coming through. A lot of people see a lot of different shapes in these images. The first one I saw was somebody holding a staff or maybe a spear. That's Craven. I know you saw Rhino.
Yeah.
So a lot of cool stuff. I don't know if anyone noticed anything else.
It was either the Rhino or it was the Rhino, the Rhino robotic suit that Jim Carrey has in.
Come on.
Sir Austin Powers in Ace Ventura 2.
Ace
I wasn't sure which. Maybe it was a crossover. It was that. I could just. I wasn't sure.
I went to the zoo last week and the rhinos were there, and I see that every time. And I'm like, I was gonna make a story, and I'm like, I think I did that last time, so I didn't. But yeah, it's crazy how that scene is. It burns into your memory.
It's fantastic. Jason Lowe says the Spider-Man holiday special. Oh yeah, for sure. I would be down with any of that.
So it's the spell is not very containable. It's coming through. It's very reminiscent of the Doctor Strange episode in What If. Everything in the sky, all the different effects coming through. And Peter's like, you know what? Just if everyone forgets me, that's the workaround, right? This will technically all cancel itself out. Doctor Strange is like, yeah, it's true, but it's everybody.
Like, does it also erase all of his digital footprint?
I don't know. Is there?
I need to I get hung up a little bit too. Like I have those questions. Thematically, I guess none of it matters. It's sort of like the loosest word, the loosest understanding of the word forget. It's like really broad. But did those kids still go on those field trips? Did they still go to Washington? And does Ned just not remember his roommate? He's like, I don't remember anymore.
Some guy.
Does people have conversations?
Is he registered at school? Does he have a birth certificate?
Right.
I don't know. Also, shout outs to the JB Smoove and Hannibal Buress teachers. I forget the third guy's name, but he's from
Freaks and Geeks.
Silicon Valley. Yeah. Awesome trio. Love those guys.
No, they're great. I love how
But yeah, who knows?
That teacher made that whole display.
Yeah.
And Hannibal Buress
we made the display. No, you made the display.
Yeah. I believe the
and
stereo.
yeah.
Martin
He's the
Starr. Thank you,
mysterious,
Jason.
but he goes to say,
Every time Martin Starr delivers a line in these movies, it's been great. Like I loved also the part in was it Far From Home when he's talking about his wife who faked that she blipped so she could leave him.
That's right.
His timing with his delivery of his jokes is like just
He's hilarious.
unbelievable.
Yeah, he's
Magic
great.
Runes.
So he has to say goodbye to MJ. He's doing the superhero sacrifice, and ultimately, when the spell is done and everyone forgets about him, he wants to go back and find her again, but he sees a cut on her face. He's like, he doesn't want to harm her. Is this the second chance, Jason, that you think he needed at the very end? It's like, hey, here's your second chance to do it right. I'm not going to endanger Ned. I'm not going to endanger MJ. Aunt May is already dead. Can't bring her back. So he chooses to put his letter away.
Right? This is the burden of being Spider-Man, and the burden of being the Dark Knight, and the burden of being Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man at the end of the first movie. Right? Remember at the end of the first one, he's got MJ right there. And he kisses her at the funeral. She knows something's up, and he's like, I can't let you in.
Yeah.
Because it's going to kill you. Like, it's going to cost you your life. These characters realize this. They go through ebb and flow, like, depending on how many movies they get or how many comic books there are going to be. Like, they know that they have to be alone, and it's their own mission and their burden. And then they fall in love, and they have to, then the person gets in danger. They gotta go back to this. It's just the pendulum swings. So he's realized what we've known all along, which is being Spider-Man means that you have a responsibility that you can't endanger anybody else, right? You have to leave everybody out. But he'll also then find that it's like his life will be without meaning, and he'll get dark. So then he'll have to find balance. And it's like, that's the game of Spidey, is how do you balance your emotional life with your career? It's hard.
And this seems like a little retcon action going. Now you get the Peter Parker who's got his own apartment. He's got to make his own way.
Yeah.
Is he going to go out and take pictures of Spider-Man for the Daily Bugle?
Right.
He makes his own costume. He has his Lego Darth Sidious from Ned's Death Star set. So it was cool. I thought they were going to have the landlord guy make another flashback. But it wasn't the same universe, so no.
No, but it would have been. But J. Jonah Jameson's in both, so like you could have.
True.
Rant.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. Opportunity there. It's one of those, like, if it was there, yeah, it's funny. If not,
yeah.
If he's not there, then you're like, I wish he was. It doesn't. It's not a deal breaker.
Plasty is saying that on Freaks and Geeks, by the way, like Laura Barton, Clint Barton's wife, Linda Cardellini, is that her name? She was also in Freaks and Geeks, as of course was Harry Osborn.
Right.
James Franco,
yeah.
Yeah, lots of...
I never watched it, but I know some of those.
It's some pretty great Judd Apatow TV.
Was Paul Rudd in it?
Nobody should have been.
Okay. All right. Did I miss anything else in the movie? They don't... He visits Aunt May's grave. Happy doesn't recognize him, which is very sad. But I guess he never really took to... he never really tried to take to Peter anyway. Seth Green, was in Freaks and Geeks, right? Yeah.
Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen. Seth Green is...
Austin Powers kid? I mean, Dr. Evil's kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of other things, too. Robot
Buffy
Chicken.
the Vampire Slayer.
Sure.
Yeah, so, the retconning, kind of bringing Peter back to a more familiar Peter Parker.
Yeah.
To me, throughout the whole movie, I kind of forgot that this is a Sony thing, right?
In cooperation, right?
Yeah. So
It's
the whole Tom Holland in the MCU was Sony and Disney working together to be like, look, we have the Avengers.
Yeah.
You can make a lot of money putting Spider-Man in there. Let's do that. But now is is this an opportunity for Sony to be like, hey, look, you know what? We made that money. Endgame and Infinity War, all that stuff is done. Now the whole world doesn't know Peter Parker. This is their way of kind of distancing and saying like it's just gonna be ours now.
Yeah, it is. It's a tricky thing to, again, when you go through now multiple iterations of the same character having multiple story arcs, right? We get 3 Tobey Maguire movies. We get 2 Andrew Garfield. Is this 6 with Tom Holland now? Right? Civil War, 2 Avengers movies, 3 Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to count Avengers 3 and 4 as being one movie, whatever. So it's basically about 5. You know, we've had a lot of Tom Holland, and I think it's been great. But when you get all 20 years of Spider-Man movies, throw in your cartoons you've watched, throw in video games you've played, throw in comics you might have read, throw in adventures you've had with your action figures. Like, it's just a big, huge tapestry of just Spider-Man things. And it stops being about pretty quickly. And then, of course, Into the Spider-Verse, like, it stops being about putting them all in a sequence, and now it's more just like this ever-flowing. It's not so much about a continuity anymore, right? Because all you have to do is cast a spell and retcon, and another dimension, and another Spider-Verse. It's like it doesn't. It's more just about let's go for a ride, and then the themes that it plays with along the way. So, what is this setting up? Like another trilogy, a Sony trilogy, where he's no longer kind of doing MCU stuff, like not Avengers anymore. Maybe they're going to bring Miles in to do Avengers stuff, and have Peter be a solo Spidey for a while. Maybe this is the end of Tom Holland. Whatever they decide to do, we're going to still get more Spider-Man movies for the rest of our lives. Like,
for sure,
it's going to be neat.
There's money to be made.
Yeah, there'll be so many different versions as we continue to go. You know,
it's just, to me, it seemed like it was Sony's like, look, Disney helped us A, make all this money, B, make Tom Holland and Spider-Man like a huge household thing.
Yeah.
That, like, now if we just take it all for ourselves, we get all of it, right? We just make our own thing. Here's our chance to take him out of the MCU world by having the story that kind of gets him out of there, and no connections to the MCU. And they, for whatever reason, that Venom after credits scene, first of all, I didn't watch Venom 2, but I know the end credit scene there was that he gets pulled into this universe, and then at the end of this he disappears,
gets pulled right out. Yeah,
it seemed really pointless to me, but what I noticed was, like, he never says Iron Man,
right?
He mentions, I think he mentions the Hulk.
Yeah,
I think he mentioned the Hulk by name, but he doesn't say any of the Avengers by names. And I don't know if that's another, like, Sony limitation thing.
Maybe.
So it's like MCU can't mention X-Men and mutants, and Spider-Man Sony can't say. I don't know if I'm reading too into it, but it just kind of seems like if this was your way of making a stand, you're kind of cutting a lot of the ties there. That's just me. That scene was stupid to me.
Yeah, I think it was like not a very inspired scene, right?
No,
we'll get a Spider-Man versus Venom eventually, right? The scene allows them to also do whatever they want with Tom Holland. I mean, sorry, with Tom Hardy. Like, they can, if Tom Hardy doesn't want to do any more, he's now excused because he's gone back to that universe where the Venom movies are, and a bit of the symbiote stayed behind. So it can find another person. And the last thought he had was, like, I should go to New York and, like, check this out, So the little goo has that thought, and it's on its way. So if they want to have someone else be Venom, it's set up. It's no problem. But if he wants to do it and the money works and timing works, then they have him in the bag too. So they can do whatever they want to do. And we'll see. How did Venom stay behind? Toyrensu says, like, there was just a bit of the symbiote jumped off of him at the bottom.
Why did a piece fall off? I don't know.
Because of reasons, right? It's a plot device. It's just
because of setup.
Yeah, just for fun.
Dan says, whispers, I really dislike Tom Hardy Venom, including end credits. Dan, feel free to shout it, yell it. You don't need to whisper. First of all, it's the internet. Secondly, you are welcome to. Wait, are you allowed? Well, are you allowed to have? You can say that. I mean, the Marvel Legends Tom Hardy Venom was cool.
Sure.
I should have picked it up when I had the chance. But yeah, I don't know. He goes back to his universe. It's not this universe. So if you get Spider-Man versus Venom, it's likely not that Venom unless they bring him back in again.
Right, which they can do
just,
with another spell or another. I mean, the multiverse exists, and in the Loki series, everything is everything. So it whatever they want to do, they're going to do. Whatever they can make work,
magic
they're
and
going to do.
runes. Yoko brings up a very good point. If I don't get to see Sam and Bucky interact with Tom Spidey again, I will riot. Those were some pretty funny scenes.
Maybe it's not the right time of year to say the word riot. You know what I'm saying? I know it's only Jan 5th, but maybe save that word for a different month, eh, Yoko? It's too soon.
Oh boy. Nice callback, Jason.
Sorry, man. Sorry, Yoko, I'm just teasing.
Chat. That's the movie. We've talked about the figures that we can get that are available, but which characters from this film do you think or do you want merchandise for? Action figures.
Green Goblin in the purple hoodie with the goblin armor underneath.
Mm-hmm. That scene looked really weird when he was unmasked, floating. It seemed like it didn't really blend together, his head and the armor. I don't know, something about the CG in that scene. But in general, an updated Green Goblin. I saw someone do a custom on Instagram the other day. It was so cool. I forget which body he used. Something with really like techie armor, and he repainted it green.
Right. I saw it too.
Because I shared it.
Was it an Iron Man?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I
don't know where it is now. Hot Toys has this battling version Spider-Man. We have the device there where the spell is contained. I ended up using my sideshow points and I ordered the classic Spider-Man.
Nice.
And I paid like 100 something for it. So there's that from Hot Toys. There is Doctor Strange, and he's got the effect here, whatever the base is that he uses to cast his spell. I saw the behind the scenes of that one where Tom Holland's talking and Benedict Cumberbatch he's just talking, and obviously there's no digital effects; those are added after. But he's talking and he's just going like this in the air. I'm like, that's just really incredible acting. He's just pulling a thread from here and doing all this stuff. I thought that was funny. But yeah, is anyone into Hot Toys? Getting these things? He's got the Eye of Agamotto there, which he does say he doesn't have the stone anymore, but he still has the jewelry, the housing for it.
I also like seeing the cube in the pre-production or just the filming stage. It's just a cube with motion capture dots all over it so they can render it later.
You got to get the dots expressions on there accurately.
Yeah, no, it's because they can design it later, right? They can modify and change as they go.
Oh, we will have a marketer's riot.
No riot,
make it happen.
Please.
Let's go. Let's make it happen. Put all your marketing energies together. But man, a Willem Dafoe unmasked head.
Yeah,
definitely needed.
Definitely. Would you want another Doc Ock?
Yeah, why not? If you're gonna do all of them, just give me all of them, and give me like a redeemed Electro. I mean, at the final scene where the electricity was giving him that star electricity look,
it was fun.
He deserves a better figure for that.
Sure.
Taskmaster, Customs by Matthew says, I saw one on a Taskmaster buck. I think the
Yes.
MCU buck, not mud buck.
A mud buck is a. You don't know about mud bucks?
Oh, please don't. All right, fine. Where are you going to go with this?
Nowhere. It's just the
Where's this
implication.
going?
Mud buck.
Mud butt.
No. Yeah.
There is also the SH Figure Arts No Way Home integrated suit Spider-Man, which does also have the bicep swivel, which I have one coming. And
A lot of
make sure you go
Spider-Mans.
check it.
It's a lot of Spider-Mans.
It is. But go check out the review by the homie D Amazing. He's got it here. He did a review of it. It looks super posable, and I'm hoping to get one there. Also, this is the one with butt articulation that he tells us about. So I told him that I would promise him I would mention butt articulation. This might, yeah, there it is right there. See, it's like this butt cheek goes up. So if you turn around, let me do my best DMAs right now. And you turn it here, and then you can pose this part. If you use a wire stand, you can just poke it into that spot right there and turn the butt cheeks around. All right, so that's my DMAzing. So I'm looking forward to that. Super posable.
I found that gold was a little too gold, a little too mustard. I thought in the movie there were some
For
scenes
this one?
where
That figure?
integrated.
Okay.
Some scenes in the movie where it gets a little bit of a highlight on it and almost comes out white. Like in some of the stills, it has a bit of a white vibe, which I like the white logo. I think it pops really beautifully. So if they had have integrated and gone white, I would have lost my mind, as opposed to going gold.
Yeah.
Iron Spider styles.
I'm just on this Spider-Man hype right now after the movie that I want to buy so much stuff. I drove to Brampton, a place which I vowed never to return to get this Marvel Legends, the upgraded suit with Tom Holland head and one webbing. So, it really good movies makes you do crazy things like drive to Brampton and buy action figures. But hey, I got it. I'm excited. I'm glad I did, because I've heard that people are like, it's still hard to find. Can't get it. And, got me taking photos again. I did the Tupac photo with him and just messing around. It's a lot of fun. If only I had Andrew Garfield still. Maybe I'll try to get it back from whoever I bought it or sold it to.
So again, no one in the chat, I think, followed up on this, but I'm hoping someone knows whether or not the upgraded suit from No Way Home is the same as the upgraded suit from Far From Home.
Maybe Dan will know if Dan's still here.
Oh, Dan would be one.
He is from Hasbro. I don't know if you know that.
Hasbro?
Yeah, I did an episode with him. Ever seen it?
What?
Oh, you know what? There is the second post-credits scene, which is the trailer for Doctor Strange Mom, the Multiverse of Madness. And you see in there the evil Strange. Is it the same one from What If? I hope so, because if so, I kind of already have this, which is awesome.
Definitely cool.
That. You saw Wanda in there, and of course, you saw briefly one shot of the America Chavez, the back of her jacket, which we saw is in the upcoming Marvel Legends Doctor Strange wave.
Do you know anything about America Chavez and her, the world in which she inhabits on her own? Is there a magic? Is she a fighter of magical things and dark magic things, or her powers magic based?
I don't know.
I'm glad that they're bringing new characters in. I'm all in for that.
Yeah.
I don't know the character well enough to. I know a little bit of her personality from some of the little kid stuff, like the cartoons, and but I don't know enough about the character to know what her whereas Spider-Man is a New York crime fighter. I don't know what her area of expertise or experience is. She got a magic punch, brings you into another universe. That's crazy. That is
Like a
that's
magic,
a neat idea.
like not a drink punch that
No.
takes you
Like the thing
psychedelically.
that Doctor Strange gave Spidey to, zap people with. She can punch people so they change universes. That is awesome.
Torrentsu, I asked him if he wanted to get the integrated suit SHF, and he said, "I'm going to pass for now." Is it crucial to the movie?
Does he talk
I
like
didn't want to tell him
Borat, or is that
anything.
just you?
Was that?
Does he talk like Borat? Because when you did his voice, it's like, I'm going to pass for now. Like, you're my wife.
Yeah, Torrentsu sounds like Borat.
My wife.
But I asked him if he wanted to order some from Japan together. He said he'll pass. And then he recently saw the movie in this whatever crazy multi-screen theater. I don't know what it's called.
Right.
But made a huge mistake, my friend. And you will regret it. Darth Gutierrez says, I want any of the Silk figures from Marvel Legends. I don't have her. That's true, because there's only Silk and then the Pulse
2 versions.
exclusive.
Yeah.
I'm kind of talking about like movie-wise. What we saw in this movie. Who do you want? Not just in general. But those are good figures to want. If you need more figures, go hit up 796 Studios. He's selling a whole bunch of stuff. He's got like 40 DMs that he hasn't gotten to, so I'm just messing with him to send more people his way. Fortress Madamus, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Says, I'd lose my mind if they also made a glider and dock with bendy tentacles.
Yeah.
They made a movie goblin glider with that great mask. Man, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Did you ever see the non-metallic armored mask I think it was Stan Winston's studio, maybe, that did this like robotic skin mask for Green Goblin for the first movie? Did you ever see the test footage they did of that and the expressions it would come up with?
I only saw a picture of it. I didn't see how it worked. I'll look it up.
Nightmare fuel. It's awesome.
I think we all want the No Way Home figures, but also the Raimi and Garfield versions of those characters from their own movies as well.
So in this idea, Fortress Madamus, like that's what I think whoever mentioned about the X-Men style 2-pack, where you get both heads. You get masked heads for both Spideys, and then 2 unmasked heads, young and now. So then it's like they can be whatever version you want them to be.
What if the HasLab for this year was just like all of those guys do it as 1/12 scale? I hope it's not 350 or 400, but like a 3-pack with all of those faces, and then throw in a goblin. Oh my god, throw in a goblin glider.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Oh man. Yeah. Okay, I'm in. I like that. That's a really good Marvel Legend. Definitely want the Doctor Strange. I want the Doctor Strange with the does he have the Harvard hoodie in the beginning and the winter coat? And it just cracks me up whenever they're walking inside.
Like,
yeah,
come on.
I just loved when every few steps they took, they would just slip on the ice like that, because that's just like our conditions outside. So they just put that in the movie. They just walking and just slip on the ice. I loved all of that. We're getting a Wong already in the Doctor Strange wave, so that'll be awesome. Plasti says, need them all. How did he break his mask with a brick? That's right. Green Goblin smashed his own helmet. I felt like it could have been stronger than that. Oh, I guess this is Win or Lose's comment. Yes. Goblin strength.
And he also knows its weak spots.
Ah.
Yeah. He also
it's
ordered them from the same faulty graphite that was in Batman Begins for Batman's masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same lot.
Did we talk about the silhouettes in the multiverse crack? Yes, we did.
But we didn't get anything else.
69.
No one else gave us any other names besides Rhino and Craven. So if there were other ones spotted, please throw them in the chat.
What's up, Dragon Eyes? We just finished the movie and the toy talk. Just talking about what else we want, though, in terms of merch. Story-wise, the suit is the same.
Right.
No Way Home picks up exactly where Far From Home ends. Makes sense. As far as any design change, I'm not sure. I haven't noticed any, but there are lots of pictures of the suit in No Way Home.
Yeah, I just want to know
That's
if it's a
for your-
repack. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Not even a repaint, just a repack.
A HasLab of Happy's apartment. I don't think that would be the first HasLab that I would back a HasLab diorama, some sort of playset. I don't think Happy's apartment is really up there.
Toy Ransom says
It's funny.
Scorpion was spotted in the. I think
I
I
think
saw
there
him
was a
too.
scorpion.
Yeah.
I've just been walking around thinking. So we did a Boba Fett stream with Paul, who's been on The Mandalorian, and Ernie, and I just remembered they were going back and forth. Ernie is like, "Oh, but the credits or the subtitles say that it's this droid from before," and then Paul was like, "Well, Jon Favreau told me this." And I just love that at any point Paul can just pull that card out and be like, "Oh, that's nice. Well, Favreau told me this." So, drops mic. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for more of that over the next few weeks. I love that he can pull that card.
I like when he gets like a burr under his saddle. You know what I mean? Like when something's bugging him and he just tells you what he's thinking. I like it. I'm a fan.
Thomas Brock, welcome. Besides Craven, he bought the Goblin mask from AliExpress. You mean a retro Rhino? Yeah, I could see. There was no Rhino in this movie, but I know people are trying to finish that bath.
Still,
I have it.
I'm missing one.
I'm lucky
part.
I pre-ordered that whole wave. We need a Craven and we don't even have a. Is there going to be a movie Craven?
There's talk that they're making a Craven movie. Yeah,
right.
over at Sony.
There is a figure in the crack that looked like Superior Spider-Man or Mad. Doesn't Superior Spider-Man just look like Spider-Man as a silhouette? He just got like that black motif. Am I wrong?
No, if it was in silhouette, yeah, it would be Spider-Man, but maybe there were some elements to the.
No chewing. Are you trolling me? Because that's funny. There was also a female silhouette. It's what is it? The Rorschach test,
right,
or whatever. It's just whatever your crazy minds associate. Craven's brother wasn't far from home as one of the agents.
Nice. Was he the one that took over the bus driving? When they go through Czech Republic or Czechia?
The glasses?
Yeah.
Cool, man. I don't know. Is there anything? I obviously want figures of all the villains. I want most of all
this guy right here,
Andrew Garfield and Toby action figures updated to modern standards. These are good, but they are just from a certain point in time. This battle damage one is awesome though, but something upgraded. I hope that happens. 1/12 scale for me. What's everyone else getting? Affix? SH Figure Arts? Hot Toys? That let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. You can let me know on Instagram. You can let me know on the Discord. We have a enablers Discord where outside of streams we can go there and talk about collecting figures, other things like that. There are a lot of different branches of this hobby, so you can join us there in the Discord. The link in the chat. Jason is sticking with Marvel Legends. That's fair.
I would get, like I said, I'm comfortable maybe upgrading one Spider-Man somewhere to something import, but I don't know which version of Spidey. I probably would go comic book Spidey.
Comic book Spidey, if you want to import, my favorite is the Mafex.
Sure.
But that one's hard to get now. Probably really pricey. I think the next closest one, you can get like a Peter B either the Mafax or Sentinel. And then I
Yeah.
think the Sentinel one is crazy because it has the dad bod Peter B abdominal section, but it also has like a more trim
Yeah.
abdominal, so you can swap it out and get like a classic Spider-Man,
That's
which is
incredible.
insane.
Yeah.
The pictures of it, there's lots of details throughout, like textures, and the Miles that I got is Sentinel, and this is the first time getting a Sentinel action figure. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm sold. It's so solid. It's so much fun.
It looks like you're having a blast with it.
Very pricey though.
Yeah.
Like I got my daughter an Amazon tablet, and she has like an hour limit on it daily. So she sat there the whole time, and I was just messing around with Miles Morales, and it like the timer ran out. It was like the whole hour. I was just messing with it at the table. It's that good, man. Very pricey though, considered from what we generally buy.
Sure. I do love the
Superior.
legend stuff.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I do love the legends. Yeah, they make me very happy.
No, they're
Yeah.
go hunt your Walmarts, people. Superior Spider-Man would look a lot like the No Way Home Spidey with MCU Iron Spidey Waldo's. Is that a typo? But yeah, if he had the arms out. Jason Lowe, I caught the X-Men bug again, and I want to get a Sentinel now. Oh, I just missed it, dude. Did I miss anything from the movie, Jason? Overall impressions?
Overall, I really enjoyed it. You know, it definitely doesn't rank as like my most favorite MCU. Like I think it does for a lot of other people. It was one of their high favorites. It doesn't come close for me to Into the Spider-Verse in terms of favorite Spidey movies. I just thought it really, really leaned on the nostalgia over theme, story, character, all the other things that I was into. But I thought it was really good. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
I wish I liked it more. I would have loved to have been on the train all the way and cried all the way home with you. But it was really good. Probably not even my favorite Tom Holland.
Far From Home, No Way Home, crying home in the car. That was me. That's the progression. It was a very fun ride. I watched it twice. I was eager to watch it again. And I agree with you. It was very nostalgia driven.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because it worked in that sense. The story, we can point out all the plot holes and everything. The wishing about Mysterio and timelines, whatever. You don't really think of that. I try not to think of that stuff in the movie. Just trying to be in the moment, enjoy it. But the things that feels weird to say, the things that it made me feel in the first watch, second watch, it was
that's what this is about. If you don't feel anything when you're watching a movie, you won't want to watch it again.
You're dead inside.
You're going there for feelings, whether the feelings are feeling happy or or the more complex ones. But you are going there to have a feeling, an emotional response.
Yeah,
same way you do when you play with one of the action figures. It's awesome. You feel something for that experience. So that's what we want. We want an emotional experience.
Shout outs to Peter who made it through the stream, and I think I saw in the comments really early on. He was like, "Everything's locked down. I'm not going to see the movie."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Whatever, I don't mind." How many times did two or three?
Maybe two.
It's the Aunt May scene
for sure.
The
Andrew Garfield
scene,
maybe. I think.
So yeah, I mean, nostalgia when it's done right. In this instance, it worked really well. So, but yeah, maybe not the best MCU film, but you think about all the movies that came out last year, and shows. It's crazy how much is coming out from Marvel.
It's a dream come true. Every single time, it's a dream come true for me, for sure. I had a thought. It just left. Oh, when it comes to nostalgia. So now, looking forward, I know you and I are both big fans of the Batman. And
Ooh,
Michael
was that your
Keaton.
Batman voice? The
No,
Batman.
no,
Okay,
that
just
was not
something
my
caught in your
Batman
throat.
voice. If I do my Batman voice, it takes things to another level. But we both love the Michael Keaton Batman '89. Meaningful for us. We're going to be getting a Flash movie that is going to just try to do the nostalgia thing again, but it's going to be right on the DC side
Mhm.
of things. And I wonder if they're going to execute well, if it's going to fall short. You know, we get these two massive superhero franchises both doing a multiverse, bring back the flagship or a flagship character in different iterations for different actors.
Mhm.
You know, it makes me think like, yeah, okay, this movie is like a bit of a test. Like DC can say, oh, this we have to continue to pump the nostalgia side, and if they don't get Christian Bale, that's going to seem like they fell short. You know what I mean? Like Marvel got 3 Spideys. We're obviously not getting Adam West. We're not getting George Clooney. We're not getting Val Kilmer. So
Yeah.
you know, Michael
Anytime Val
Keaton.
Kilmer is mentioned,
Well,
I just
he'll.
see that meme of him like out of shape. He's like, "Hey
Oh,
guys, remember me? I was Batman."
yeah. So we'll get Michael. You know, Michael Keaton. Affleck is in it, and then if we see Christian Bale, like I'll lose it if it's good. But it's
Right.
interesting to see that it's taken until 2022 almost, and we're getting both of these things at like around the same time. It's wild to think that that's a real thing in our
I want everyone to
universe.
see this. This is a Marvel legend able to get into this kind of pose.
Is he doing a cannonball? Is that what's happening? He's gonna
He's just sitting
in a fight
crisscross applesauce.
because
Story time.
story time. Okay,
It's a fastball special, but is it a fastball if he's not thrown properly? Anyway, I just thought all the talk about imports and whatnot, this is very posable.
yeah, that's great. Would you ever apply
Sentinel,
dull coat? Would you ever apply dull coat to yours to take the
I'm
shine
not
off?
that kind of
Yeah,
collector. I'm,
yeah,
I'm not into that. Sentinel Peter Parker is going to be amaze balls, and it'll add to the Into the Spider Verse shelf for sure. Waiting for the SPDR and Penny Parker, but definitely going to get a Figma schoolgirl to customize.
cool.
Okay, I can see that. But yeah, so now that I have the Sentinel Miles, I kind of want the Mafex Peter B because he has those soft goods that look really good. Um, the Mafex Miles wasn't that great. The soft goods were baggy. They just didn't work that well. The figure itself was okay, but how the Sentinel works, dude. Like, if this is the figure, right? This is oh god, that looks weird. So if this was Miles and you wanted to switch him to the jacket, the shorts, and the shoes, you take the arms off, and there are jacket arms that goes on,
Right.
and then you put like this, like a vest. That's the remainder of the jacket. Then the lower body comes out. You plug in shorts, and then you pull basically from the knee downward out of the other legs and plug it in. And then within the plastic shorts part of the leg, his leg inside articulates within the shorts too. So there's like a joint in there.
Hmm.
And change the shoes. It's insane. Me describing it doesn't do it justice. It's because I'm an idiot, but like it's so good.
It really sounds awesome. And not to just to bring it back to Marvel Legends for a minute, they've done this now with the latest Reed Richards with the jacket, the vest,
Yeah.
switch the arms. Like if they do more of that and up the price point, I'm still like
Okay.
whatever figure you can do that with, like a Cyclops with his, the bomber jacket, their jacket, and switch the arms so you can be masked or sorry, like jacket or unjacket, whatever. Like I'm down for all of that. You want to charge me a few dollars more? I'm totally game for whatever figures fit that theme of changing
Deluxe.
their outfits a little bit and with some
Mhm.
removable arms, legs. I'm totally in for that.
What voice did I do? I don't even remember, guys. When I do these live streams, there's so much stuff going on. It's just a blur. I don't remember anything that happens afterwards. Did I do a voice?
I don't remember.
Yoga pose, Spidey. I've got the Mafex, Miles, and Peter B. Peter B is great. Perfect old man Spidey. It's cool. But the Sentinel has the swappable abdominal. It's cool. If you haven't gone Sentinel before, I say give it a shot. It's totally worth it. I'm sold on that brand. Low 76 Monty says, is it easier for you to put together than Modoc? How dare you?
I think that's a good idea. You should change your opening to your live streams to just like you putting together the Modoc figure with the Benny Hill music.
I
And
have
fast.
Plasti has something. I'm gonna post a video later. The always watchful Plasti. Figure report. Welcome says, I just want Marvel Legends of the No Way Home villains. I completely agree, and I would buy all of it. Please.
Would you get Sandman?
Damn it.
Sorry. Sorry.
He's very like he did make an impact in like
No,
any movie.
No.
And he was just, I just want to go back to my family. I just want to see my family.
I'm interested if someone did an edit on Spider-Man 3 and took him out within like the first hour of the movie, if you take out his scenes and change the movie.
Oh, like when you remove the Jar Jar Binks? Who did an edit?
Topher Grace. Topher Grace did.
Grace.
Yeah, I did one where I took out every single line that Anakin had in episode 1 and everything that Jar Jar said. And it improved the viewing considerably. I got the movie down to 90 minutes, maybe. And it was...
You did this?
Doesn't everyone do their own edits of Star Wars movies? So,
You mean like in your head, or you?
No, I did it on... Yeah, I did it on
VHS. For people in the chat...
I actually own a copy of episode 1 on VHS. 100% I do.
I bet. People in the chat, if you're not familiar, Jason will very often message me and say, hey, so-and-so Star Wars movie is on Showcase. And then I will say, Jason, for the X number of time, I have Disney Plus. It's the same movie. And he will guarantee every time, it's not the same, Kev. It's not the same as when you turn on the TV and it's just on. I'm like, no, it's the
amazing.
same movie. It's not like back in the day where you turn on Superstation and you go, oh, a James Bond movie, and then you is it just because you're trained that way? And this is an old joke. It's just you're familiar with that feeling. You turn on the TV.
I tell you what scene it's on. Like, oh, you got to come here. Luke's about to do this. Like,
yeah,
turn on channel 29.
Yeah, you're the guy in Office Space from next door. You're like, turn it on, channel whatever. Like, no, I don't need to do that. When I feel the need to watch it, I'll go to Disney Plus.
There's something special about spontaneously coming across Star Wars. It's the best feeling.
I mean, I'm not saying stop messaging me because the joke must live on. Like, it has to continue.
But it's not a joke. It's sincere. It's from my heart. I want you to watch Star Wars on television spontaneously at the same time as me.
Yeah, you want me to watch it with you.
Yeah, I want you to share a moment when like the things happen.
I've been to the theater with you twice in the short time that I've known you. Yes, and I don't think there are many other friends that I've actually been to that many movies with together.
It's because you have a stigma. People know they don't want to go to the movies with you because you're not fun to be with.
Because I'm always crying.
You're crying and always have to go to the bathroom.
I should rate Modoc 1 to 5 on how hard a figure was to put together. Yes, if like a figure, how difficult it is to put together. How many Modocs? I like that. App Nuggler. Thank you. And then you can use the Modoc emoji in the chat. So if you're on YouTube, you can see in the comments, there's the custom Modoc emoji that's available for channel members. I'm mentioning it now, 2.5 hours into the stream. But the channel membership is completely optional. It's just a way for you to support the channel, and it gives you special emojis to be more interactive in the chat whenever I mess things up. You know, whatever memes we come across through the weeks and months, you know, I usually try to make something there. And it's just a little bit more fun. And there's a pinned message there on YouTube if you want to become a channel member. And shout outs to all the channel members who've been supporting the channel. I did a channel member giveaway a few weeks ago. Last week? I don't know anymore. And just as a way to give back. So I do like the Murdock scale. Thank you. I will be using that.
You have awesome channel members, by the way.
Oh, they're fantastic.
You really do.
Everyone
Look at
here.
that.
Many
Incredible.
thanks.
Yeah, they're great.
That's a lot of great support. Thank you, everyone. Jason, anything else from the movie? Chat?
Come on, Spider-Man. You don't have this guy, do you?
I do.
Oh,
He's on my... I posted this Instagram reel of my display the other day.
Yeah. It's a lot to take in. I'm old.
There's a lot of stuff there.
If it was on TV, I'd remember it, but on my phone,
Jesus.
you know.
I'll get you a VHS of it. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people were like, that's a cool display.
I got some questions about your display.
All right.
Your X-Men.
It's not the Orange Wolverine, is it?
I'm not going to bug you about the Orange Wolverine because I've done it before, and I don't need to rehash my jokes except for the Star Wars joke about television.
Which isn't a joke.
The characters that are on that... No, it's not a joke. It's real life. The characters that are on that shelf, the taller shelf that are there, it looks like it's mostly animated. No. Sorry. I don't mean the higher up shelf. Yes, the one that has more space. It's like animated series plus Colossus and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
Why?
So you can see this shelf here is a little bit
crowded.
Because first of all, Bearded Builds made this amazing sign.
It's incredible.
Go follow Bearded Builds on Instagram. Amazing work with this. You know, CNC cuts, sculpted. I don't know what the term is, and painted. So thank you, Peter. But that takes up some display space from there. So some things got moved around, and then some, like my X-Men are mostly animated series, and then I started adding peripheral ones in there, and then like other teams, other X teams, and different versions go up there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
because that one moved from there to there.
Thunderbird's taking up like primo real estate on your top shelf there, and that feels not really a good use of space.
You know that was because the X-Force was in the back, and then the Storm and Thunderbird 2-pack came out, and I didn't want to move anything, so it just kind of pushed everything in.
Thunderbird can be in a bin. That's okay. He can be in the bin.
This is true.
He dies like 3 issues into the series. Like, come on. And you know that if you watch my YouTube live stream every Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, previously in X-Men, which is all about X-Men comics from the second genesis of X-Men, the essential X-Men stuff. And you can, me and my pal Chris Sanigan, who I make comic books with, we do a read through of that run of X-Men. And Kevin, if you paid better attention, you'd know that Thunderbird is, although a cool action figure, sure, does he deserve front row on your shelf, on primetime on your channel on YouTube? I don't think so. He hasn't earned it. I mean, look who he's next to. This should be like, that's the best spot above your head, right? We all look at your really cool hair.
I always call it the backstop.
What's above the cool hair, and it shouldn't be Thunderbird.
I'm trying to load up a.
I heard it. I was like, oh, dude. There you go.
So this is the stream.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. You guys go through comics like this and give commentary, and you wear the same clothes. Thunderbird's coming back in the comics. Everyone's coming back. I want to 3D print some blades for... Oh, are you imitating yourself? All right, that's really annoying. But yes, please, X-Men fans, comic fans.
Yeah, it's good
please fun. Go follow Group of Number 7 Comics on the YouTube. And you and Chris do this every Tuesday at 9 p.m.
We do. And if someone wants us to cover a different comic, I don't mean we'd stop doing this, but I'd be happy to try other books too. Like, no, I mean, seriously, there are 7 days a week. I have a lot of comics, lots to read through,
and lots of knowledge.
runs.
That's the cool part.
Oh, that's kind of you. Thank you. There's lots of cool runs to talk about, and hopefully this year we also want to start having guests on the show. So we're going to expand the voices that are available, and people who like X-Men
I mean,
comics.
like
can come
voice
join.
actors, right?
I mean, like voice actors, or just you off camera, morph. Yeah,
Nice.
voices. Thank you.
Yeah, the Thunderbird. I did the review for the 2-pack. I was being very kind, but it's not that great. He's not front row. Somebody was in front of him. They fell down.
Also, I really loved. What was it? I noticed one before. Was Cyclops was tipped over? Yeah, up there on your thing. Isn't Cyclops is he's leaning
On Wolverine? Because you know why? The kids are right above here in the living room and they jump.
He's like going for a hug, but he's really tired. So he's the hug where he doesn't use his arms. Come here, Wolverine.
Like a plank of wood that's tipped over. He's still, yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised you can see that. That must be the new computer that you have. Heroes World, what's going on?
Hey.
Need to go check out Heroes World soon.
Holy smokes.
If you're in Canada and you need Action Force action figures, heroesworld.ca is the place to go.
I went in there a couple of weeks ago before it was on your the Thursday thing when you opened action figures.
Yeah, that Thursday thing. Yeah.
I went in there, man. John and Andre, you guys like reorganized the store during the lockdown, and the toy selection was amazing. It was just amazing. It was just really cool being there and seeing all the action figures, and I had a lot of trouble not spending every penny I have. It was great.
Are you still going this week? Did you still want to go?
I do still want to go, and I know the time is short.
To be nighttime.
Yeah,
well, we'll see. I'm streaming tomorrow and Friday. Should I just plug everything now since you already plugged your stream?
It was organic.
Tomorrow night. It was good. Thursdays at 9 p.m. Unboxing Thursdays. I'm going to open up some toys. I will be on with the Enablers, Yoko, Kyle Wadiga, 796 Studios, Prime to the First, High School Creations, Pan Fred Nudo. He hasn't replied to me yet, but we are going to go through our top 5 figures of 2021 because top 10 would be probably too much. And we will see who got the most enabler points in 2021 and just go through that. Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, we will be recapping episode 2 of The Book of Boba Fett on a segment that we have called The Book of Boba Tea, where I will also be ordering some bubble tea. And it'll be with myself, Yoko, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, and Ernie, the Fallen Fett, should be joining us as well. A lot of fun on all these streams, and it's just geeky toy goodness. We get to open stuff, and last week Paul and Ernie were debating the physics of how Boba Fett. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it. If you haven't seen the episode, if you have seen it, you want to hear us talk about it, go catch the video. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But that's this week. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope everyone who's watching right now, you can stick around for more content, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. I'm on Instagram at Toying Around and Twitter. I'm Toying Around, all this stuff here. Jason?
Hot take on Boba Fett, man. Right there. There's my hot take on Boba Fett.
Yes, I will bring that up tomorrow.
No, I just see Winger Lose is saying, what's my hot take on Boba Fett? It inspires me to make more art. So I get to make things like this and all the other ones that come after it. So my hot take is I'm enjoying it very much. It's good.
Cool. Follow Jason Lapidus Art.
Please and thank you.
On Instagram. And a Group of 7 Comics on Instagram, Group of 7 Comics on the YouTubes. Anything else, finally, with this movie?
Enjoyed it. Watched it twice in 2 days. Wasn't bored either time.
Nice.
Can't wait for what comes next, right? Can't wait for what comes next.
The possibilities, man. It's it's very exciting to have that many possibilities coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. Chat, thank you so much for hearing us talk about this movie and our thoughts, and I hope you get an idea of what kind of action figures you want. It's cool for us to see what you are interested in. Maybe I've enabled you on something, but Jason, thank you for
Hey, man.
hanging out and chatting.
Thank you for the
Same
hang.
with everyone in the chat. I hope you are following, subscribed to both of us, and I enjoy making these videos for everyone, and I hope you all enjoy watching it. Have a good night. See you tomorrow night. Keep toying around. Peace. I'm going to switch it to this one. Shoot him out of my...
The noises are
wrist.
disgusting. Oh.